desperately needs. What was once a captivating, trend-setting program has now deteriorated into a cliched, let's be honest, boring snooze fest that is in dire need of a knight in shining armor. Television ratings, downward spiral. Pay-per-view buy rates, plummeting. Mainstream acceptance, non-existent. And reactions of the live crowds, complete and utter silence. You're silent because you're embarrassed to be here. Honestly, I'm embarrassed for you. And the reason why you're embarrassed is because of the steady stream of uninteresting, untalented, mediocre sports entertainers who you're forced to cheer for and care for. No wonder you're not cheering. You can care less about every single idiot in that dressing room.
Now, here's Joe Cronin. Joe Cronin. When Raw, SmackDown, WWE, or AEW end, tune in to the Joe Cronin Show. Live on YouTube for review and reaction. Joe Cronin and Jake break down all the action. All of it. The Joe Cronin Show. Your source for wrestling opinions, news, and insanity. A wrestling podcast with attitude. Mature audiences only. Join our community of over 70,000 people. Subscribe free on YouTube to The Joe Cronin Show.
He's got a big one. Who's got a big one in the chat? Somebody does. I know somebody in the chat has a big one. You're bringing on it up. How's everybody doing, man? What's going on? It's Wednesday night. Quite a swerve in ratings the other night. AEW NXT, just huge swerve in ratings, man. What a weird... I did not expect that at all. I mean, I think a lot of people thought AEW would do really well with the beach concept, but then the fact that Edge was going to NXT, I don't think anybody could have predicted last night's rating. I mean, you might have come close with the AEW one, but I don't think anybody could have predicted that NXT would have such an abysmal rating, and that AEW would be so strong. I mean, it's weird. It just goes to show you that what I'm noticing out of the gate to say about this is that when AEW really promotes wrestling or promotes like an event of wrestling, whether there's somebody on the show or not, they don't need a Goldberg or somebody to return. It seems like they just go, we're doing this big show Wednesday. It's called Bash at the Beach or Beach Party, or it's called, Tickle Fight or whatever you want to say. The people show up, man, and they seemingly always show up in the 850s or above. And WWE, meanwhile, can promote something and announce that Edge is coming, and they drew a lower rating than some of their normal weeks. That's crazy to me. Is it crazy to you, Jake DeMarco?
It is a bit odd. I went ahead and I thought that they would tie a little over 820 apiece. And AEW came close with 844 with a .32 in the sought-after demo.
You won the week. Third. No, you definitely won the week because I said, ridiculous stuff. I was like, oh, I think it's going to be a shock. By the way, I never pick NXT. I go, I think NXT is actually going to come close and AEW is going to lose. And I thought maybe AEW would do 700 or something like that, and NXT would pop to a 750. And you said 828 or something for AEW, so you were super close.
Yeah. I really thought that they would both tie, and I guess they just didn't advertise Edge nearly as heavily as I thought they did, because it was buzzing and trending briefly that day on Twitter. But those are the fans that are probably already going to tune into NXT anyways. That's why they saw the notice, because they're plugged into the social media. You wanted to get people that don't watch NXT, so they should have advertised this on Raw. This should have been pre-planned.
Right.
And as I said before, I knew they were screwed with the Orton thing. They couldn't advertise the Edge and Orton match without saying that, oh, Edge won the Rumble, because then they would just be giving away a WrestleMania match ahead of time. Why? Well, now we know he's got his eyes set on Mania, so Edge is ready to go. I did. Look at that. Stroking out.
Dude, imagine if I went on the WWE Network. You know how they keep sending out the emails for the WWE Network? Well, they keep telling me they keep saying I'm signed up and I'm ready to go. They're like, oh, you're ready to go, whatever. I think people have been signing me up, to be honest. But either way, I signed up a while ago, so they just keep emailing me about it. And, I mean, I don't care. I would do it, but I'm busy doing the show. But wouldn't it be funny if I was just in the screen and they put me in a prominent position and just I just was like, oh my god, dude, I would be so weird. There's so much to talk about, and this coffee's going to kick in a few minutes.
I think it's already kicking in.
It might be kicking in right now. The donations, guys. People keep asking about this. There's there's a bunch of different ways to donate. Super chats are cool. If you want to super chat and ask a question, say something crazy, this is the only way we're funded here on Out of Nowhere. Hope you subscribe. If you're new, hit the like button. You know all that stuff. You can use the Streamlabs link down below or the Stream Elements link down below, either one. Elements will process your credit card. I made a good deal with them on processing credit cards. It costs everybody less money. So that is the best way to do it if you get a credit card. But either way, they both work down below. All the donation amounts are listed down below. There's 18 now or 12 or something. I don't know. There's more coming back again soon, but right now the temporary ones, they're all down below listed. Super chats aren't on there. The super chats don't work yet, but the other ones all work. So do whatever you want to do if you want to help out. Also, Patreon, people have been complaining today that, hey, I didn't even know I'm not a patron. What the fuck happened? Patreon did that thing again where the auto charges didn't go through for about 30% of you. So we are at 277 patrons, but obviously about 30 of you guys are missing. And multiple people have already said, what the hell? I didn't even notice. I didn't even get the alert on Patreon that you were live. What's going on? I'm not a patron. Oh, my God. Yeah, Patreon has this every once in a while where you have to manually go fix it. It's so dumb. It's ridiculous. But, what are you going to do? Also, down below, I want to shout out, these are all the $10 and above patrons. If you are one and you have a Discord link and you come to Discord sometimes to be on the shows, and we're going to be doing a big Discord hangout like we used to do back in the day, morning Discord hangout and things like that, and you want your gold VIP, and you don't have a gold VIP because the Patreon link thing didn't automatically give you that, that happens too. 70% of the time it doesn't work. So just message me multiple places with your name on Discord, and just make sure you wrote something in the chat on Discord once or twice. As long as you do that, I can then knight you. I can knight you a gold member, VIP of the Discord, and then you'll have access to a few more things and links, and you can't be blocked by certain people. You know, it'd be a lot of fun. Anyway, we have a lot of fun on Discord and on Patreon. Just make sure you let me know. And if we hit 300 patrons tonight, Jake is going to suck my balls. No, if we hit 300 patrons
gotta gobble
tonight,
right on stream.
We got to get back to 300. We got to get right back to 300. I did a big podcast this morning about my first time getting drunk at a job. That's up on Patreon. It's 35 minutes long. Go check that out. But if we get back to 300 patrons tonight, we are going to do a bonus 1 hour, or a bonus half an hour, rather. I don't know if we can do an hour, but we'll do a bonus half hour of Out of Nowhere.
Yeah, baby.
Off the air. Plus, we'll throw in another few minutes of off wrestling topics where we can have a lot of fun and talk about it. So shout out to all the people down below, all that stuff. Anyway, there's the big ad out of the way right at the beginning, and we'll continue to talk. So much wrestling news. Vince McMahon had the quarterly call today.
Yeah, that, you know me and my numbers. I am giddy with excitement to be a total nerd. You know, I'm ready to geek out with this stuff. And some of it's actually really interesting. That's why I do like breaking this down. And a few people in the chat went ahead and said Edge isn't a draw, but yet Raw started out with almost 2 million viewers, an increase from their 1.8 the week before. And then it did go down to a 1.81, but it gave them an overall rating of a 1.89, which is up for Raw. And on top of that, they were up 3% with males, 18 to 49, and they were up 22% with female teenagers and 10% with teenage boys.
Wow. Ew,
the only place they dropped really was people over the age of 50. So it seemed like people over the age of 50 didn't really give a damn about Edge, which is kind of odd.
Well, there's been a 10-year gap, of him not really being here.
Yeah, that's true as well. So, but all in all, I think it's, he does work. They didn't advertise him being on NXT until the day of. And then they also, I guess they had announced a match at one point. That's what I saw. So I was waiting to watch Edge compete on NXT. So when I found out there was just a promo, there was no match, I was greatly disappointed. They had originally showcased him being involved in a tag match. So I don't know what happened, but maybe that was just a fantasy thing, whatever. Still, I was expecting, or at least waiting, but I know he's going to be competing on all the brands, forthcoming. They're not going to have him wrestling as much, but he'll be showing up everywhere. But he does have plans to have a match in NXT, on SmackDown, and again on Raw, and for both pay-per-views upcoming. So Edge is not going to be a part-timer. He's not going to be a Goldberg in the sense of, just be there in name only. He's going to be on the shows in person, being there for multiple, brands until he makes his WrestleMania decision. I guess they already decided he is definitely going against Roman, but Bianca Belair, they haven't decided who she's going to face yet. They can still alter who they want to see her face. They don't even know if Asuka will be champion going into Mania.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like they've really killed Asuka. Like they've really just murdered Asuka at this point. It doesn't, and whatever reason that is, and she hasn't helped herself, and she hasn't been allowed to do anything other than be like, she went from being kind of interesting with her eccentricness or whatever you want to call it, but she's in the mode now where she's a full-on, like, just Tajiri, like, foreign person.
She's a cringe fest. She absolutely is. She's a laughing stock of her former self, and I hate it.
Yeah, I can't believe that they're not, with all the SJW BS, not that I like it, but I'm surprised that with all the SJW BS in the world, that they're not getting more shit for, like.
I'm surprised they're not, because it really is like just an insulting caricature of what she can be.
Right.
And no, she doesn't have the best English ability for speaking, but on her YouTube channel, when she tries, she does come across, understandable. She speaks quite well. Yeah. So I don't know why they don't let her. Not, if you're going to script her, let her rehearse the line a few times, and then she can go out and say small things.
They just don't have to deal with it. They're like, we don't want to have to write this. Just be the tool.
Exactly.
You're
they don't
tool.
Care. Edge, I would love to see him face Balor, because that would give NXT title a huge push, and it's not out of the realm of possibility. Charlotte, Rumble winner, chose NXT last year too.
Right.
Jerome Spicer is not a fan of Edge. I get that, but I do like Edge. I've always had a soft spot for Edge. When it came to his retirement, seeing that in person, that crushed me. That was devastating.
Yeah, I don't make any bones about it either. I'm not a big Edge fan either. I I like him, and I think he's important in a way, but I always thought Edge was kind of like Hulk Hogan is an A+, or Stone Cold Steve Austin is an A+, or The Rock is an A+, and maybe John Cena is an A+, and maybe Shawn Michaels. I would consider Shawn Michaels my favorite wrestler all the time, but I can understand the draw factor is that Shawn Michaels is probably an A-, right? Because he's not quite the big name Hogan, Stone Cold, and The Rock were. So I can understand, I can concede that Shawn isn't, okay, fine, he's not an A+.
So Shawn's an A-. I would say Edge would be a B+ then.
Right. So I see Edge as like a B+. Which is good. Like that. Like this guy,
which is great. I mean, he handled, he never had like major runs with the titles, but you can see, all right, I remember when he held the titles and, it was like, all right, he had good solid runs that were memorable. He definitely reinvented himself multiple times. He went from, ENC to a comedy team, then to like a hardcore tag team, TLC Maniac kind of. It was kind of its own thing. Then they were heels. Then they went to their, own routes and did the solo run. And Edge was just a fantastic heel. I think he was one of the top heels in the company at that point in time. I loved his heel work, and I really think that he elevated everybody that he worked with, from Cena to The Undertaker to Orton. I think that anybody that he faced in a match, he really brought the best out of, most times.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think that he really is he's a good. I mean, he's just good. He's one of the Edge is like a band to me, like where, like, I'm into weird bands. I like strange bands that maybe not everybody else likes, or that are sort of like subcategory bands or B bands or whatever. And like I've never been a big, like, Led Zeppelin's awesome, right? Like Led Zeppelin is great. I'm not a big Led Zeppelin fan at all, though. I don't have even a CD. But when I hear a couple Led Zeppelin songs, I go, hell yeah, Led Zeppelin is pretty good. But I don't like sit down and go, I'm going to listen to some Led Zeppelin now. I'm just not like that, but I know they're good. I understand. Like, there's other bands that like I'm like, yeah, that band is awesome, but I just don't really like them. But they're really awesome, and I think they're important, and they're whatever. I like really respect it. And they also are entertaining when I hear certain songs. I'm like, damn, this song's awesome. And that's the way Edge is to me. It's like I'm not the big Edge fan, but I appreciate him. Like somebody said, people were arguing about Goldberg and Edge the other day, and it's like I agree with you where I said I think Edge is more valuable because of his promos and because of he can carry a longer match.
And his work rate, the fact that he'll be there more than just one promo, one match, or one thing in one Mania.
But who has the better spear? It's Goldberg. Like, Edge's spear, to me, has always been stupid. I hate Edge's spear.
I don't hate his spear. I like Edge's spear, but I will agree that Goldberg does have the more impactful spear. But Edge, I don't really remember him for his spear. Like, that's not...
But he should be, because that's his finisher. Like, it's like so weird.
Well,
like
it's one of his finishers, thankfully enough. Like, he had, a few...
What the hell other thing is he used to finish people off with?
The Edge-O-Matic he had for quite some time.
That's retarded, too, by the way. Edge-O-Matic?
I like the move, too.
Are you serious?
It was his own version of an impaler, basically, but I liked it. So.
Edge really got over with all my friends. I don't know if when I went to AEW, in fact, Soundwave 92 reminds me of some of my friends. I know that I didn't grow up with Soundwave 92. We don't really know each other that well, other than he's a big donator of the show and a great guy. I met Soundwave 92 at AEW. And when I met him, I also hung out with my friends that I grew up backyard wrestling with. And a lot of my friends that I grew up backyard wrestling with were from the class below me, or actually 2 classes below me, believe it or not. So they're a bit younger. And my take on wrestling was always the more serious stuff and whatever. Those guys were the type that liked Edge and Christian with the peep stuff, and they also like the weird, like they're the type that would like to go to an indie show, and if a guy wrestled a dinosaur, they would love it. Whereas I'd be like, oh, what the fuck are they doing? Like, don't do this. Or like a guy's wrestling an Invisible Man, they would love it. I would think like this is, unless I was drunk, I would be like, this is, I almost want to get in the ring and hurt this person. So they have a different vibe than me. I almost feel like Soundwave has a little bit of that vibe too, but I don't know because he's younger. But I forget why I brought this up. Oh, I know what it was.
You're talking about the spear.
Yeah, I just think that's why like Edge connects with a lot of that era. a little bit more with the 30-year-olds to 35-year-olds, like a little bit more 30-year-olds to 33-year-old.
Yeah, that's why I wish for the Rumble that they had Gangrel come back, because he's able to, think about it. They had Christian, they had Edge in there, they had Gangrel come out with the fire, and I would have marked out like a son of a gun. That would have been amazing.
Now, real quickly, everybody, this is a treat for anybody. I want to announce this. This is really cool. I have a poll up right now on Patreon. And if you're thinking to yourself, damn, I can't become a patron until tomorrow, or I can't become a patron until next week, or I'm not ever going to be a patron. Well, I put stuff up on Patreon that's free sometimes. You guys can actually follow me on Patreon for free. So in case that Twitter goes down or I'm not on Twitter, follow me on Patreon. It's free. Download the Patreon app. It's free. Download the Patreon app to your phone. It's free. And not only will you get 30 hours of bonus content if you are a patron, but you will also get all the free stuff. And right now we have a free public post of a poll, so you guys can go check out the Patreon, whether you are a patron, not a patron, whatever, and go vote now. I have a poll up that says, is Edge a draw? So is Edge a draw? What do you think? And when I say draw, someone from the Old West kills somebody. But the point is that I have this poll up, and 8 people have voted so far. I just put it up just now. So far, yes is winning. We shall see and know, and people are voting right now, I see. Is Edge a draw? Free poll. It's up now, and I'll have the link in the chat over there for you guys if you want to go have fun with that poll and all the other free stuff that's over there. And when you become a follower, you get access to some things too. So go for it. Feel free to vote. Feel free to give the app a try if you've never given it a try. I'd love to have you guys over on the Patreon. We're approaching 300 patrons again. It's the beginning of the month. It's only the 4th. Many of you guys may have not figured that out yet. We'll figure it out. Here comes the dono. Oh no, look at this. What the fuck? Here we go. Here it comes.
Deborah's niece.
Oh.
Bedda's niece. Deborah's nephew. Bullfrog's niece. Bedda's nephew. Deborah's niece. Bullfrog's nephew. Deb B Deb C D E F G Deb B Deb C D E F G Deb H Deb I Deb J Deb K Deb.
And they wrote Deb.
It didn't say Deb Q.
Deb QAnon. Yeah. Notice it wouldn't read that. Why wouldn't it read that?
I was waiting for the finale of that. DJ Scandalous had me laughing before on he was going off on Twitter. He was actually trending for a little bit and
really
popping off because he put out a post showing that rapper that got the jewel. What's his name? Yeah. I don't.
Did you see the Diablo post?
Looks like friggin' Vision. Yeah. So I saw the Diablo post and then I saw DJ's earlier. It was hilarious, but oh my God. What like a $10 million thing, I believe, altogether for the surgery and the gem. Someone's definitely ripping that out of his head. And I guess if you do try it, like it could kill him. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
the way it's surgically implanted. Someone's gonna rob you for that gem. I'm sorry, but that thing is so valuable. If that's legit, why would you? It's like walking around with a bag of cash open. I mean, people walk around with expensive watches and stuff, but not a $10 million gem. your vision just waiting for your Thanos moment.
Yeah, and I don't know who's in charge, and everybody, most of you guys don't play Diablo, and you guys know that I love Diablo, but I don't know.
They got a good one there. That was a great tweet.
I don't know who's in charge of the Diablo Twitter, but this past 2 weeks has been fire on the Diablo Twitter. I don't know. Someone else took over the Twitter account that has has a soul, because it used to be just silence from them, and now in the last 2 weeks, it's been like just tons of stuff. Return the red soul storm, mortal. You cannot contain the Lord of Terror. And people that don't understand what that means probably. But the point is, this is hilarious. And I mean, I don't know, it got people talking about him, I guess. But that's dangerous.
It is a target on his head, and I that's something that has to get infected. Yeah, see this, he's saying $24 million there. I've heard 10 million. I've heard 16 million,
I'm scared for him, like, to get like attacked.
That's what I'm saying. What a
but you know what? Nothing is going to terrify me more than that goddamn couple getting shot in the snow. I know. Oh my God, dude! I didn't know that was real. If I knew that was real, I would not have watched that video. Because I heard about the story days ago, and I went, oh my God, that's horrific. And then I saw that post on Twitter today, and I didn't think that it was the same story. I just thought, what's this? And when the guy started being like, oh, I'm shot, and whatever, I was like, oh, this is like a joke, and I started laughing because I thought it was fake.
You think it's because it seems ridiculous. It really does.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, this is hilarious. Who the fuck made this? And then it continues, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then I started thinking of the story of the people shot during the blizzard, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the real video of these people being killed, and it's just out there. And I'm like, oh my God, like, it's so crazy. So me and Jake are going to talk about that on another video on Patreon and whatever else. But I suggest you don't watch it. I did tweet it out, which I should have said, like, don't watch this. Because honestly, dude, I watched it and I didn't feel, I am sick. And not only, like, I'm like, I'm going to be sick. Like, I can't believe I watched this. You know, and it was terrible. I wish I didn't watch it. And then you go to the comment section of the video and it's just filled with, like, horrific stuff too, and it's like, oh my God, man, what is wrong with the world? Crazy. We're gonna talk about that another time, but WWE had their earnings call today, and Vince dropped a few interesting things. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I just took the bullet notes that I got, so we can get to some of that. I'm sure I missed some things too, but shit bomb. Oh, the Soundwave 92,
a shit bomb,
dropping 20.
NJPW tweets out about KENTA's appearance on Dynamite, and then today they announce they have a partnership on Roku TV in the US, UK and Canada.
Yes.
It's no coincidence now AU and NJPW are working together. What are your thoughts?
Yes, 100% that it looks like there was a deal. We thought that the other day, really, and...
Yeah, we weren't sure because I didn't want to get ahead of it and be like, yeah, definitely. It seemed that way, but it could have just been because of the U.S. title, so I wasn't sold yet. I said, let me wait and hear.
Many of you guys weren't either. I just felt, of course they're doing it.
You weren't like... Meltzer really explained it all. I listened this morning, and he said the deal is done. It's legit, and the two sides have a working relationship. The pandemic sped it up, but it also held it back at the same time. So the pandemic, because they couldn't face off back a year ago for the U.S. title, Moxley's had the title this entire time. And I guess before this, too, there was a bunch of bad blood between AEW and New Japan, allegedly. New Japan wanted Tony Khan to come there to agree to a working relationship, and they had other feelers already set, like the Young Bucks from New Japan at that time were ready to sign the deal, and I guess they thought it was disrespectful on New Japan's end, and it was just a lot of like silly back and forth drama BS, and everything fell apart. So it wasn't until Moxley went ahead, got himself the title, and then had the deal with AEW as well. So Tony Khan, excuse me, I can't get that name right today. He went ahead and he played it very smart. He knew what he was doing. They could have stripped Moxley of the U.S. title, but that would look bad, and fans would obviously not care for that move. So they went ahead, they worked with Tony Khan, and now there's a new working relationship, and it's pretty smart. So, you know, they don't have a specific plan in place as far as a talent share right now, but they have an idea of what they want going forward. The only thing that they knew for sure is that they're going to have KENTA fight on this show so that Moxley can fight on the New Japan Strong show. So this coming week, we'll see KENTA go ahead and team up with Kenny Omega as we go ahead and he takes on Moxley. So that's going to be a hell of a match.
Yeah, and I'm, you know, I'm happy that there's more stuff going on. I'm not like a crazy New Japan person. I see a lot of people are marking out and freaking out over it. That's really good. I'm glad that people are happy. I'm just not like super like, oh my God, I'm freaking out now. But it's good news that they finally squared something away so they don't have to be babies anymore.
Yeah, because the old owner went ahead and viewed AEW as quote-unquote fly-by-nighters, and apparently they big-leagued them. Right. By saying that they were just, you know, but can you blame New Japan as well? Like, how many new companies have we seen start in the past decade with wrestling promotions that have gone under?
Yeah, they're like, whatever.
I mean, look at even Global Force recently. Look how much money Jeff Jarrett had thrown into that didn't work.
Oh my God, that was so weird.
That was a disaster, and that had the same idea, joining in with Impact for a while and having their little takeover. And
he had a good, like, it was like sort of a good, in a way, a good idea, like this traveling promotion that could be anywhere, anything, promote anywhere. Like, it sort of was a really good idea in a way, and nobody's really ever done anything like that. That's the one thing I'll say about Global Force, and you still could do it. Think about the idea of, like, you know, like calling up an indie territory, right? Anywhere where there's an indie crowd, and basically sending them your banner of like Global Force Wrestling and saying like, hey, we like your talent, and there's a guy nearby, especially during COVID, right? Say like let's say Chris Dickinson, right? Or Dirty Dickinson, you know, Chris, the whatever is called Booty Daddy in New York. I don't remember his name. Chris Dickinson. What's up, Chris, if you're listening? You're probably not. I forget his name, his real name now that he goes by, but I've seen Chris wrestle all over the place in the New England, New York, and all over the place. And you know, you could have a guy like that where you think this guy's always good, and we've got like Tommy Dreamer wants to do something, and you call up the promotion, whoever it is, whether it's in New England, you call up whatever promotion, you go, yo, I'd like to put this show on. You run the whole deal like it's your, you know, promotion with your promotion / Global Force, blah, blah. And you could actually put these shows on, have them recorded, have the company send it to you, and create a website and sort of run it like NWA where you're booking it, but you're not there. They're in charge of booking what you want. And you could call up any territory anywhere and sort of almost like you're renting their promotion in a way and promoting it on a big scale. Or maybe you just have a website where you promote it. Title Match Wrestling could be like this too. The guys from Title Match Wrestling, hey, we need more pay-per-view content. Can you guys put on a show? I got a guy who you should work this deal, and you promote it on your website as the next pay-per-view. You know, these are all little ideas that I'm just sputtering out there, but, you know, that's kind of what Global Force, in a way, was going with, but traveling. Now,
yeah, but they were just
COVID, you
heading
can't do
to
that.
each spot, and they're like, oh, every spot we head into will showcase different talent. So we'll feature, you know, your local promotions champions while featuring our guys. So they were going to work with everyone. But
you know what?
It ended up working with no one.
You know what messed it up? So we'll never know, I don't think, or maybe we do know and I just don't know. I always thought that him being offered the Impact Wrestling gig again, that's what ruined it. I felt like he was all in on the Global Force company, and once Jeff Jarrett, they said, hey, we want you to come back to Impact Wrestling and become the king of the mountain and everything. The minute that happened, he sort of just derailed from the whole goddamn production, and that's when I never saw Global Force Wrestling work again ever. Now, it could be that he knew that the company wasn't going to work, so he was like, oh, good, this Global Force thing didn't work out. I'll be on TV, and we'll try to cross over with Impact, and then it still didn't work out. I don't know. But it seemed like once he got into Impact Wrestling, Global Force just went to piss. I don't know. Like it might have been what he planned or didn't plan. I don't know. Oh, shit. AJ Adams says,
Colonel Santos is a Philippine cat-eating midget that likes little kids. Go away, Mexican kuya.
wow. AJ Adams. That is absolutely sick, AJ Adams. You're a disgusting person, AJ Adams, with that $3 coming in. By the way, Soundwave 92 currently is the top dog. Let's go take a look at the Edge. Is Edge a draw? Is Edge a draw? That is, you guys are saying, is he a draw? I don't know. Let's go take a look. And we can't get the image up. Let me see if I can get the image up. It doesn't say can Edge draw, like drawings. It's like, is he a draw? 25 votes so far. Yes, 16% say. He is absolutely a draw, you say. 7 say no. 2 want to see what happens. Derek Hant says no, not at all. He was one of the no's, and he was vocal about it in the comment section. Derek Hant's always a fun member of the Patron and a big supporter. Man, what up, Derek? DH! Hit that home run, DH. But, Jake, what do you think, man? I mean, the NXT numbers don't look good.
The NXT numbers I don't think they're indicative of entirely Edge, though. I think that's the product in general, and last night was a great show for NXT, but it wasn't in the same regards. It's so hard to explain. Like Dakota Kai, Raquel Gonzalez opened up the night in a tag match with their women's tournament that they're having for their female Dusty against Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. Joe, I'm telling you, I watched this just before we started the show. I didn't even get to finish the very end of NXT yet, fairly enough. And they went ahead, and this women's tag match was incredible.
Wow. Oh, good women's tag match. That's bizarre.
Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez killed it with Casey. And I mean, Caden's great. Casey Catanzaro can fly like no other just because of how, Ninja Warrior athletic-esque she is. So some of the spots that they did, none of them were silly or stupid. I felt like, everything was just really, really well done. And the finish looked amazing. Great reversal. I was like, wow. It was one of those like simple but yet effective out of nowhere moments. Huge Uranagi. I was like, damn, great match. And now we're going to go ahead and send them straight to the finals. So, and after everything that happened, we know what's going on then. So I don't want to spoil it if people don't know, but all in all, that's the thing though. Great matches. But the only reason these two are facing is because it's a tournament. So that's fun, that no doubt. But you got to like tournaments to get into that. Not a lot of people are crazy if there's no story. So they're going to switch to AEW and just wait for the finals. They'll probably watch the NXT TakeOver because they'll want to see the finals of the tournament, but they're not invested in the tournament because they don't care about the teams, because most of these teams are just random people thrown together. So when 3/4 of your night is consisting of the tournament of these tag teams who have just been mostly thrown together because it's time for another Dusty Classic, there's no investment. Fans aren't rooting for anyone to win. The Undisputed Era was pretty much one of the rare few teams that you see in there. Like, Lucha House Party, they're not going to go far. You're not going to root for them really. So you're looking at other teams that are together, and that's pretty much the thing. So if you're not into the tag matches and that tournament, as I said, the only other thing really of the night besides the Edge promo, not match, but promo, which was very good, don't get me wrong, but it was just another Edge segment saying, I didn't make my decision, but when I do, I'll let you know. Good to see him on NXT, but it wasn't enough to really generate a buzz.
Yeah.
And the only other thing you got besides the tag team tournaments is the Cruiserweight champion Santos Escobar, continuing that story. And that's really good. He's been an excellent Cruiserweight champion. Yeah. But if you're not invested in that, you got nothing for the whole night. So that's why they had such few viewers, I feel. Amazing matches. Great wrestling. Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. They're working together as a tag team now, and they're in the Dusty Classic doing very well. They beat the Undisputed Era, but why am I going to root for these two? Even because I love Tommaso Ciampa, but they just beat the hell out of each other a few weeks ago in a fight pit.
Yeah.
And now you have them teaming together. And so many times they do that, the bitter enemies become teammates, and can they work together? But there was no investment at all in any of this. There was no story. Great match again, but when there's nothing there, there's no investment. It's just, I like these guys, but what do I get from this? That was my major problem. Now, there are a lot of good stories. The Way has a really great story going on with Johnny Gargano and everything that's going on there. Finn Balor, obviously, and Pete Dunne, their match, I'm greatly looking forward to.
Yeah, that's a good match. No,
but but that's at Valentine's Day, so we have to get to that. And I don't like the fact that they called it Vengeance instead of St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
Yeah,
they have the rights to the name. I wish they used it, but the point is they do have stories, but they're just, I feel like, not showcasing them because they're trying to make the Dusty Classics on both sides. It's hard, but yes,
we
I like
heard from other people though that they were saying NXT won the week and it was so good. So I'm surprised
because the wrestling was fantastic, Joe. The wrestling was amazing on the show. It was so damn good. I cannot overstate that enough. The main event and the opening match, that women's tag team match was stellar. I don't know if anyone in the chat saw
Somebody said it was a botch fest too in the chat. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't good, but
no, I thought it was fantastic. I thought they absolutely killed it. But that's my take on it. So it might not have been something that's up your alley. But I often do like the NXT.
Yeah, no, I'm really interested because you don't hear women's tag matches go well often. So people are saying, and you're not the only time I've heard it. So that's really interesting to me that the women had a really good tag match. I definitely want to see that then.
I don't think they won the week by any means. I think there was so much, better. Yeah, Cross and Edge had a promo, but that came after the show. So that's an exclusive thing. And we'll get to that.
Oh shit. My bad. Here comes Shell. What is Kenny Omega doing, bro? It's so funny when he does it. It's our friend,
the Demon Shell from Hell.
Hey Joe and Jake. I'm back bitches LOL, I can see again for now anyway.
Yay.
You boys looking fine.
Shell got her vision back. That's so good.
Hell
It could have
that's
been
good to hear.
It
Always worried about you.
It could have gotten worse, man. So like we were worried. So good thing it's.
So, yeah, I know. It
Sure, she's still dealing with pain, but hey, Shell, thank you for the $12.
Glad you can see our sexy faces. Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff. You know, I'm talking out of order, so I have things that'll eventually make sense when I'm trying to get to certain points.
I'm going to mute my mic for a second while I fix this cord real quick.
Yeah, go right ahead. You know, even with the Overrun and NXT, like I said, they had some really great matches. And yeah, I like I said, there were a couple of botches in the women's beginning, but I thought it was so damn good with the story that they told and the ending being so well executed. I just really, really enjoyed it. But I would give the win, to AEW overall. I mean, they really just had a better show and better stories told, more investment. And it was before the main event? Okay, all right, because I watch things completely out of order and mostly on YouTube, so I stand corrected. And Matt, when you said before, do I like the bar? Yes, I do like the bar, but the thing is that they invested time into that story. We had a best of 7 match between Cesaro and Sheamus, and then when we finally got to the conclusion, the 7th match, it ended up being, a dusty finish, and look at that. And now we're going to make you two be a team. And we didn't like it at first. It took a while, but then they started playing promos between the two of them, and they started doing things with them actually in a bar. They had the suit wearing and things, they started to actually uphold their gimmick. Then it worked. But Joe and I were trying to come up with so many different scenarios and ideas. We had 007 Cesaro and different things for Sheamus to really go ahead and fully encapsulate his heritage. And that's pretty much what they've done with him now. They've made him a drunkard that likes to fight and brawl, and it works great. It really fits into his character. So all in all, I went ahead and I did like the bar, but it took time to get there. They don't have enough to go ahead and invest in these teams to go ahead and tell stories for the Dusty Classic. I get that. It's just something they want to start. But let's see. Stories we have in AEW. We've got the fighting amongst the inner circle. We have everything going on with the Elite at this point in time. We've got the Good Brothers and Impact invading. We have to know now KENTA and New Japan, what that leads to. I mean, those are just minimal things, but that's a good portion of it. So I do enjoy it, though. Let's see what else we got here. So we discussed the ratings already, and we did go ahead and mention that New Japan, they do have an open working relationship. We'll talk more on that in the future. But one thing I want to start off with is that WWE went ahead and randomly fired Steve Cutler today. It says WWE has come to the terms and release of Steve Cutler. We wish him all the best in his future endeavors. Bit of a shock that this happened. I did not see him being released, but I can't help but feel like this is, I don't know if it's totally him entirely or everything that happened, with times before with the comments, but it seems to be speculation now is that Steven Cutler had heat with Vince McMahon over COVID. And, Deonna Purrazzo went ahead and tweeted out just a few hours ago. She said that Steven Cutler and I had tested positive for COVID in the beginning of January. We had no symptoms, but took all the precautions necessary. Thanks for the well wishes, but we are healthy and in good spirits. When one door closes, another opens. So the idea that a positive COVID test for a small time person, basically a jobber at this point, led to heat with Vince, and him being released kind of seems extreme and unfair. So we're trying to, look into more of the story. And he, Cutler went ahead and responded later on saying that the decision shocked him and this is not something that he saw coming. And he went ahead and unfortunately today I was released. It was shocking to say the least, but I am excited about the future and all the possibilities in front of me. Thank you for the continued support. 90 days, the countdown begins. So obviously he has a 90-day no compete clause. And, this is just recently after the gimmick change too, they release him. So another guy that gets sent down on his way. And we got Lars Sullivan being released, now Cutler. And it's being rumored that there's more to come. We will possibly see more releases as the week and weekend goes. Now, that's not verified, but I could certainly see them kind of squeezing the life out of a few more people since WWE, they're kind of in denial anyways. They don't believe they lost any viewership in 2020. So part of their ratings call that they had today for the fourth quarter, the conference call, they had questions about the company's performance. And one person asked about the slumping ratings and viewership numbers. Nick Khan, no relation to Tony Khan, he handled the questions, and he went ahead and said they don't believe that they had lost eyeballs to the product. He just believes that the eyeballs are there, but they've shifted to other platforms. So he doesn't, he thinks WWE offers their content on YouTube and other linear platforms. And he says this is where they believe fans have diverted their attention. So he thinks they're not, necessarily no longer watching there. They're just watching elsewhere, even though the numbers aren't indicative or backing that fact up either. He said it was the company's Facebook numbers are up in the last 6 months by a significant amount. And growing their ratings is always going to be a goal, but they believe as society has less much going on and the election and pandemic, those eyeballs will transition back towards the company's in-ring product when things get back to normal. That may be true. People may start watching wrestling again, but you do have to admit, we've gone down by 25% year after year. The ratings have gone down continually, 25% each year. Rumble to Rumble, we've seen a 25% viewership drop. That's terrible. So, what we get next, we'll see. But WWE still just in full denial, using their PR swing. They lost no eyes. But they do get to go ahead and kind of tout themselves because their operating income was $36.2 million. So that's a decrease of 64%. That's huge. Why? They're not touring. They're not going anywhere. They're not doing anything. They're paying certain people less, or people are on leave and things of that nature. So they also let a lot of people go. They're also making more money, but their actual cost of day-to-day operations is down almost 2/3. That's crazy. And now it was reported that the revenue was at $238.2 million for this quarter. That's down 26%. But this isn't a bad thing. It would technically be an increase in revenue had they had a Saudi show and live fans buying tickets for events. So really, even though it shows they're down 26%, had they followed their normal revenue and done everything as they usually do, had they gone to Saudi, held their 2 shows there, things like that, they would have gone ahead and actually been at another record-breaking quarter.
Right. Yeah, so money-wise,
they're doing amazing. They just pulled in new deals, obviously, we know, with Peacock, amongst other things. So they are doing very well.
WWE isn't in the wrestling business anymore. I was just thinking about this. I've been watching a lot of, I've been recently binge-watching a lot of Shark Tank. And I've been doing a lot of talking behind the scenes at little ideas that I've had for secondary jobs and stuff like that. And after thinking about WWE, they really are not in the wrestling business anymore. What they are in is business, is what they're in. They're in the business, the marketing business, the deal
they're
business.
In the entertainment business now.
They're in the entertainment business, but their business is amazing.
They're business oriented with everything. So that's why with the
it's
sports
unbelievable
update,
though.
They're
actual
even said that they're going to
product.
ramp up live events as soon as they get the very first go-ahead. They're not revealing when they're leaving, but they have to leave Tropicana Field soon. Right. So the company plans to return to Saudi as well, and they stated that one large-scale international event is expected. They didn't specify when, but they're trying to see if they don't have to have a 14-day, quarantine if they go for the Saudi show. And what they're trying to do is get exemptions for actors, wrestlers, celebrities for when they have to travel. Because as we said the other day, that's the issue with John Cena. For people in certain, nations and countries, you're not able to just leave the country freely when you go in. I know New Zealand and Australia, when you go ahead and arrive, they set it up themselves that you have to quarantine for 14 days. So people going there, some celebrity was going there the other day, and she posted an update saying, I have to go 14 days ahead of time so I can do my hosting duties. So John Cena can't miss that much shooting for one day of a WrestleMania thing, and he said he wouldn't want to commit to a one-day thing for a match that doesn't
even know about. Yeah.
So
they would have had to pitch him like a solid deal. Like, we really need you to put over this guy or to do this with this guy. And because they're like, well, WWE's doing their classic thing. This is like me. WWE is acting basically like Joe Cronin, the host. You know what I mean? I got co-hosts hitting me up like early, hey, what time? What are we going to do? Do you know what's up? And I'll give them I don't know, and then we'll go live. And it's like, you kind of, as a co-host, probably feel sometimes like anybody, Drew, you, whoever else, sometimes like, man, fucking Joe, give me an idea. Like, he has no idea about his own shit. Like, what's going on? And if you had something to do, you might say, I can't be there tonight, Joe, because, I don't really have a clear idea what I'm even doing or what we're doing. I'll take the family thing over that. Yeah. And that's basically what happened with Cena here is like, hey, man, if you had some exciting thing to pitch me, I'd probably try my best to work with the studio and you to get there and do the thing. But because
that's a great analogy.
No, it's true. Like, because I do it all the time to you guys. Like, and it's kind of like, you help me out anyway, and you're usually there anyhow. But, Cena is in Canada. And it's like, yeah, listen, give me some kind of respect of like,
exactly.
You have an idea and I'll be there. And it's like,
yeah. And John wants to be there. He said that he wanted to wrestle. Now he said if he could have figured something out, he was glad to try and accommodate it any which way. But you never heard WWE going out of their way for him in the sense of like, well, let's send something to Canada. I don't know why, like we said, they couldn't arrange something to go to him. I believe he's in Vancouver filming for the DC show at this point in time, for the Peacemaker show for Suicide Squad. And that's going to be on the HBO Max service. So great. Send someone to him. If he's already got stunt things there, I'm sure there's a way for them to do something, but I'm not sure. In the meantime, though, we will see them returning to live events soon enough. And they're focusing on ticket sales as soon as possible, as soon as they can. There's not going to be a lot of time for people to be prepared to purchase tickets for WrestleMania. You know when the dates are. So if you're planning on going, start to look for accommodations, travel, all the things you need to be prepared for now.
Yeah, right.
If you want to go to WrestleMania, even if you don't get the tickets when then, at least have those things booked, reserved, because everything's going to be super limited. And I mean super limited. All hotels on location are very limited and where they could boo for like their limited capacity. So that's a worry for people. It's not because it's a 2-night event. They're thinking a lot of people are going to be staying, and WrestleMania brings in more people than. When they're going by at first saying like, oh, Tampa Bay when they had, their games but that's local fans in the Tampa area coming in for a Buccaneers game. WrestleMania brings people from, if possible, I don't think it will be, other countries. So I don't know if they're going to limit to United States citizens only. I don't know if they're going to say something like no outside travel because they're going to be worried if that's an issue. We really don't know at this point in time. Nothing has been answered because they don't really know. But I feel like they need to make a decision soon for fans to be able to take care of accommodations.
Yeah, I think that
everything I'm hearing though is that it's going to be just, hey, tickets are available, buy your tickets.
I'm sure they're going to just do it that way, and they're going to want probably the most rabid fans, right? The people that are like, hey, F the pandemic, or I'm ready to go. They're going to have 15 because they have not changed that there's going to be 15,000 people, right?
No, not at all. They're saying that they even might have more.
Wow. A super spreader event.
That's the thing, because that's why I could see them blocking all outside or international fans.
Yeah, I mean...
Just for the fact that then they don't have... Because the United States, I don't believe, has any mandatory quarantine. Mm-hmm. I know some states do, but when you're coming in, I don't believe there's any mandatory quarantine.
What the WWE... What they should do is allow international people, but... make a deal with local hotels, like allow 1,000 or so international people, make a deal with the local hotels where they'll host the international fans who have to quarantine. But I don't know, dude. Listen, the bottom line is I think they're just saying let's bring it on. Florida has probably already 20% of the Florida population has gotten COVID. There's vaccines available now if you really want. And I think Florida's just like, yo, Wild West, don't, if you're fucking old and stuff, don't come out, stay inside. And again, it comes down to the theory that we had back in March or April, which is something where I said, 1% are going to die. And it seems like there's no way that we're going to get around this. And now they say there's 4,000 strains of it, different strains of it now.
It just keeps.
I mean, dude, this is insane.
Jumping all over the place,
and it makes you wonder what the thing really is. Now, I don't know how many, the flu virus, does that have 50,000 strains, or is that normal or not normal? I don't know. That's something we'll talk about on a non-wrestling show. But
I'll have to look into that. That's a good question. But
they're saying
WWE is expecting even more money,
more people.
Yeah, and like Matt said, Mania tickets are usually expensive. So with this, they're going to be so limited that I feel like it's going to be either a lottery system or. Do you remember when a lot of people probably don't recall because I feel ancient saying this, but when Michael Jackson actually he did it right before he died as well. He had a lottery system. But I remember being a kid, my mother wanted to go see him, and you actually had to go and purchase a lottery ticket for a chance to then go ahead and purchase a ticket to see Michael Jackson.
Wow.
You would have to go to, because our local Oakdale theater, you had to go there, and because that was like the box office location, and for whatever big arena that they were doing here, you would have to go ahead and buy a ticket to go ahead or get a ticket to then be entered into the raffle to see if you could get tickets, basically.
Jesus.
So I wonder if they would do something like that, or if they're just going to put them up and let them go online. And because I worry about scalpers that way, that would really suck. It's hard to combat scalpers always.
Oh yeah.
But you figure in a situation like this where they're super severely limited and already thousands of dollars probably per ticket.
No.
How much is a decent seat for Mania? $500-$600 if you're somewhere where you still probably need the screen to see.
I wonder how they're going to spread them out.
That's what I'm curious of too. If they're going to do it how they've been doing Daly's Place and have people in sections and just put people in pods.
Wouldn't it be interesting if they had two rings spaced out from like 100 feet from each other because the people were so spread out that they wanted to have one on this side, one on the other side? I mean, I don't know if I really like that, but I'm just saying like how
like an Ozfest idea with two stages, kind of.
Yeah, just because then you could sort of, because you have to spread people out so far. It's like, but then somebody might be mad, like they're on the far end of the backside, and then the match they really wanted to see is on the far side ring. Like that would be like annoying. I don't know if you could do that because there'd be too many people.
I'm not sure if you could, but still, I get your point.
And you know, maybe there can be, I don't know, maybe the Titantron is lowered so the video screen's bigger. There better be a brawl on the ship. We said this last week.
They're using last year's set.
We got to
have the pieces, and they still had some construction spots, and so I guess that's going to be all set.
Yeah,
I'm excited because we never really got to see full details. You know, we saw parts of it and certain construction elements, but the finalized set we didn't get the full look at. So thankfully, you know, we started to see bits and pieces, and you know, the stars were walking into Raymond James, but they said that things weren't fully complete yet. And I knew that they had great plans for that pirate theme setting, so I'm really excited. That's one of my favorite things that I really do miss WWE doing is the original set designs that you used to get at pay-per-views. Yeah, I remember once we hit into the Attitude Era, you started to see, you went just having the Titantron was a cool addition at first. You remember when that came?
Yeah. I was like, what is that? Like, holy crap.
That's great. This is so cool. And then we had, the side panels come, and I remember I went to one of the first shows that had the side Trons, like in 01, where they first brought those in, and then they started with the HD screens and so on and so forth. But holy hell, it is amazing how far they've come. But I miss those sets, those changed themes, like you'd have Backlash with the big hooks swinging, and TLC with all the chairs, and Armageddon with the, it was always something unique and cool. Well, there were some great ones.
Now they just figured, like, well, we're lazy, so just make a bigger digital screen so we can just change the theme of the digital screen, which is, I get it.
They don't do that, though. They don't even make that look unique.
Not anymore, really. Now it's, well, I get it during COVID that they just really lazed it up, but this actually reminds me of the Attitude Era at the beginning, right before the Attitude Era, right at the start of it, when they did just have the Titantron, because all they did usually was change the lighting. The lighting would change. Like, okay, there's lights that change, and the screen changes. But eventually, they went into things like the DX pay-per-view and the Fully Loadeds and the, like you said, like they started theming stuff. The only theme they ever did before that was in your house. And then WCW kind of, they had the Halloween Havoc set and all those things looked awesome. But yeah, WWE killed it with their sets at one point, and I don't know why. Maybe they just thought, like, we're throwing money out for nothing. Like, let's stop doing this.
What WrestleMania plans do you see for Seth Rollins? I personally think his Messiah gimmick has been very uninteresting, but I really am hoping he can be put in a good match at WrestleMania. I think he could really benefit from going on a run W tag belts.
I like women, or I like Woman Wayne's pee-pee. Thank you. I like Woman Wayne's pee-pee. We'll have the Tyler Black donation back soon. I want to see Seth Rollins continue to go. I want him to be full ham. I want him to go full ham, like, you know what I'm going to do to you at WrestleMania.
But go deep into it, because Murphy's vanished. And we heard news earlier this week that
He's
like
dead.
Bo Dallas is still there. Same thing with Murphy, Aleister Black. They just have nothing for them to do. So they're back in catering. You know, Murphy had that whole romantic thing going on with Aaliyah.
Yeah.
Right? That was her name, Mysterio.
Nice pussy, Aaliyah.
And then
When you
that
turn
was just
18.
kind of left sitting. So, I mean, I guess, what are they, you know, it's weird because now we see Seth come back. I figured they'd have some type of more finality.
They call me
thing with
Rising
Murphy.
Redbeard, Jake. Rising Redbeard. For my rising red-bearded pubic hair around my cock. Sorry.
Unfortunately, though, that's not what we got. So I'm really not sure what the hell they're going to do with Seth. I mean, like you said, I wouldn't mind him going full silly heel. Like if he's still heel, then go full cringe bore with it. Like go deep into it. But I kind of was curious. I mean, we're going to see Edge versus Roman, but I was almost curious to see what it would have been like to see Seth and Roman with Seth as the heel, how it would have turned out. I don't know if it would have been good, but to see Roman beat the hell out of Seth might have been fun.
Yeah, that it might be funny. I just think
if Roman really just destroyed Seth at the end.
I just envision Seth as this Intercontinental Champion. Like, I know that it's weird to take steps back, but the guy, just to me, Seth Rollins, if he was the Intercontinental Champion, he really reminds me of like a little bit of like Shawn Michaels, a little bit like Jericho, and a little bit like Jeff Jarrett when they were Intercontinental Champion heels. Seth Rollins to me.
That.
Yeah, like Rollins to me is the top mid-card heel bad guy comedy act, and I really think and better than Miz. Like Miz to me bores the shit out of me. But I think, you know, like Seth Rollins being like, I am your Messiah, and let me tell you what I'm gonna do. Like, and he just like very similar to CM Punk when he was doing the Straight Edge Society thing in the Royal Rumble, where he was like, let me ask you something. Do you want to join the Straight Edge Society? And he kept saying that. And then on the third time, remember, I always talk about this, but the third time in the Rumble, the third time, he picks up the mic and goes, hey, do you want to join this? And he just hits the guy before he even gets the sentence out and he knocks him out with the microphone. Dude, that comedy to me is fucking hilarious. The fact, like, it's so dumb. Like, but
it works. But it
cracks
makes
me
you
up.
pump.
Like, it does, dude. I think that shit's
It
hilarious.
It works because it's unexpected. And it's because they have a lot of times where like loud is funny or random is funny. Like, you know, the tentacle monster coming, and it doesn't always work. But if you do things unexpected, that, you know, those little surprises are funny and it works.
Yeah.
Matt also said, and I'll give him credit for that. He originally said Big E versus Seth because Big E's the Intercontinental Champion.
Oh yeah, that could be good.
But if we're going by the Rumble, it seems like Daniel Bryan and Seth are going to be having a feud and facing off.
Well,
which I wouldn't hate because they've had, you know, some interesting, you know, back and forth with obviously the Shield and Team Hell No, and obviously since then as well. But I know they could put on a hell of a match, so that might be good for Mania too.
We've also
Daniel
said that
Bryan last full-time Mania taking on Seth Rollins.
I could see a triple threat though. I could see a triple threat or a 4-man, or like we said, the ladder match. Bring back the 8-man ladder match. Maybe they don't do Money in the Bank like I was saying, but maybe they do the
IC title ladder match. Yeah, because they've had that at Mania before. That was one of our.
That was the one where wasn't that the one where Dean Ambrose like died?
Yeah, Luke Harper. You know, Brody Lee put him through the ladder, and Luke was the only one that Dean trusted.
Yeah, man, that was fun. That was
he wouldn't let anybody else do that to him except for Brody. He said no one else would be able to handle that safely and land him. And Vince actually shot up out of his seat. He thought that Dean died. He thought he hurt his neck the way he landed.
Oh, God.
And Brody knew he hit it perfect.
Did you see that or was that a rumor story? Like,
No, that was true. Dean talked about that after.
Okay, that's what I wanted. I was actually what I was hoping was you said that no, there's a behind the scenes video of it. I'm like, oh, I gotta go watch that.
I think it was an interview.
Yeah, Moxley talked about it.
Was that the one said when he passed away? So.
Oh yeah, was that the Mania where Bryan won or where what's his face won? And his dad came into the ring with the cowboy hat, or was that the Daniel Bryan win?
I don't think that was Zack Ryder. I think that was Daniel Bryan.
I think it was Daniel Bryan too. So because he was in that one, so he'd be in another one here.
Yeah, because 2014 30, Daniel Bryan won the titles, obviously, in the main event. 31, he wasn't there.
You know what I want to see? I want to see Daniel Bryan versus Seth, and Daniel Bryan calls.
I know that was 31. That was 31.
Oh,
and he
was
won
31.
the IC title.
Yeah, that was the Rollins won the, or lost.
And then 32, Zack Ryder won the year after.
I want to see Daniel Bryan call Seth Rollins a wasteful, meat-eating son of a bitch, and then Daniel Bryan comes to the ring, and Seth Rollins ties him up in the ropes, and then in front of Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins eats like 30 beef burgers in front of him while staring at him. Hey Daniel, how you doing? Fucking
have him bring a petting zoo to the ring. And then say he's taking them all to the slaughterhouse, things like that.
You know how much flatulence is coming out of my ass into the atmosphere right now, Daniel?
This is where I go and get stupid with it. But
oh my
I
God,
would go
bro.
ahead. Could you imagine Seth Rollins? Remember how he had the van with AOP where he turned around?
Yeah.
So if he has any lackeys, I'm sure he would have one. But he gets somebody, knocks out Daniel Bryan, and they take him in the van. And then when they wake up Daniel, he's in a slaughterhouse.
Oh my God! You know
like
where
that,
we are. You know where we are, you son of a bitch!
And you see the cow in the background. He's like, "I'll do it. I'll do it right in front of you, Daniel." That kind of stuff. And
oh my God, he's eating a cheeseburger. He's eating a cheeseburger as he pulls Daniel Bryan's hair up as he's handcuffed to one of the pens, and he's like, Don't look away. Watch, this is the best part. Now watch
that
this.
Was Betsy, her sister.
They cut to the meat grinder, like stock footage of a meat grinder. Oh my God, dude! I'm sorry, but I would. And Daniel Bryan's. They zoom in on Bryan's face, and he's like, he's gagged for some reason.
Oh, it would be so good. Those kind of things. See, now that cracks me up. Instead, we get swamp matches that you have to create a backstory for in the same 6 seconds.
Oh my God!
Oh
dude.
God!
Dude, I would lose my mind. And that's why I see Seth Rollins as a top comedy act, but mid-card bad guy. Mid-card bad guy. And I feel like The Miz, because for people that think, well, that's Miz. Miz is a mid-card, the top mid-card bad guy type. I think The Miz has fallen to like lower tier below, like just not even, like he's way down. Like when I see The Miz, I actually want to change the channel at this point.
Yeah, he has that go-away heat again. And I think he's been in that state ever since he lost so just unceremoniously to Shane McMahon. Do you remember how embarrassing that was? Like, he and Shane had to team up, and then he got his ass kicked in front of his father, and then his father got beat up as well, and he never got his revenge. He lost at Mania, and then he lost in the cage match at Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
And he lost another time after that. So Miz never got his comeuppance. And then The Fiend tortured his family while he was still a face. And then The Fiend beat the hell out of him. And so did Bray Wyatt himself. And The Miz got his ass kicked there.
The Miz has been the best on the backstage shows where he rants.
Yeah, those were good. And Miz, Miz and Mrs. is funny. The few clips I've seen was entertaining. Like he's got that type of personality. He's a good radio host, and
he's good. Absolutely. The Miz is a great, like, especially game show host type of guy.
Yeah,
he just, as far as his character on wrestling TV, it's awful, and that's what it is now. The guy's a great talent. I think he's a 6 out of 10 talent. Who's overall
he's really talented. He is a good wrestler, but I feel like they damaged his character so badly there with him losing so many pivotal matches and looking like a dumbass throughout all of it. Your family's getting stalked, and there you are beaten up. And then, it takes other people to have to come in to save you and to make your family be protected. And then he turned heel with Morrison. They won the tag titles, and then that turned into a joke angle, like really jokey, but stupid, not in a fun way. They lost their way with it. They had an idea, and they stopped being fun. It just became stupid.
Right.
So that's the sad part. I really think that Morrison deserves better. We know he's extremely talented, and The Miz is a good IC champ. Or at least going as a heel for the IC champ. Like, he's that good antagonist role. He was good berating Daniel Bryan. He's got certain glimpses and good moments, but this is not it. And I just can't help but feel like same thing with Ricochet and Braun. You look at these people and they're so devalued. They're so belittled. They've been beaten so many times and destroyed. Why would I believe in them? Why would I root for them? Because they're geeks. They're losers. They're nothing. They're, these pivotal moments where they have to win and they get destroyed time and time again. They get their ass beat.
Well, he also helped. I mean, it's not his fault at all, but he, like, now you equate Miz with, like, devaluing the Money in the Bank, like Braun Strowman. Every time they devalue the Money in the Bank, it devalues the Money in the Bank and it devalues the person holding it. I don't know how they do this.
They ruined Otis. Otis was white hot.
Otis, yeah.
So over. When
Dude.
fans were there, they wanted them to win that chamber match last year in February so badly. I forgot how over they were. The fans were going nuts when they got eliminated. They were so pissed.
You don't want the Money in the Bank.
And heavy machinery. They ruined that because I know fans are away, but they got so obsessed with the Mandy part of it. They forgot about the tag team. Then they let Otis win it because they didn't have a better idea. And they're like, oh, he'll challenge for the tag team titles. And then the fans said, well, that's pretty fucking stupid, right? But at least it would have been something.
Right.
It would have, it would have been something he did, unique with the belts. And that would have shown a lot of character for Otis. He cares more about his best friend and their success than his own success, because he could have went after the title, but he did it with his brother. That's a great bit of motivation and character development. And wow, we can get behind these guys because they're real friends and they care about it. Nope, he's going to backstab him and Mandy's a whore.
Yeah,
Fuck
they
move on. And then they take away his Money in the Bank briefcase, not even like a tournament or something like failed cash in. No, through a court case.
Yeah, that would, dude. Don't even. I'll lose my mind. I'll snap.
Me.
I'm gonna snap.
I mean, come on.
I mean, you thought the
But
Braun.
don't forget, too sweet.
Yeah,
too sweet.
You
We still got, it's like, come on, nostalgia doesn't. It's not saving you.
If you
Ric
thought
Flair
the Braun Strowman thing was bad, I mean, that court case thing was Death Note.
Exactly. So then they have Legends Nights and they try and stuff Christian and Edge and everything else in between. It's not saving it. They have to realize this.
But let's think about this. For the last 3 years, Braun Strowman ruined by Money in the Bank. The Miz
he had a
ruined by Money in the Bank.
Cash-in. Failed announced cash-in. Before that, before Braun, we had Baron Corbin who failed his cash-in attempt because of Cena.
Right. These guys all ruined by the Money in the Bank.
Baron Corbin went ahead and ran his mouth in the back. Remember, all that stuff happened, so he lost the briefcase, and they had him go and try for the title, but then Cena cost him the briefcase. So that was an embarrassment. Braun announced his cash-in and lost. Otis lost the briefcase and went ahead and totally forgot about the damn thing forever, it felt like. Anyways, he used it as a lunchbox.
Let's
Literally,
pretend
he put a ham sandwich in there.
Pretend there's another briefcase, Jake. We need to relaunch and revalue the briefcase. I have a couple people in mind that I would give the briefcase to. Who would you give? Who are your top three? And I wonder if we have the same ones, but who are your top three people that you're going to give the briefcase to if we relaunch it tomorrow?
Ooh.
To have it to maybe cash in within the next 6 months.
All right. We want to think this through wisely because I haven't considered this.
I'll give
yet
you
in
one.
all the
I'll give you one
roster.
right now. I'll give you one right now. I'll give you one of mine.
I'll give you my instant pick before
Okay.
you even announce any because I don't want to hear any I copied. So
Okay, go ahead.
I'll give you my gut pick, AJ Styles.
Okay.
That's my instant gut go-to because you can always elevate AJ. It's not hard to. He's so damn good on the mic. He's amazing in the ring. I feel like they could put him against they could really make him be in that main event picture again. He held the title well. He was a good champion. And I feel like they don't have many heels, solid heels, especially on Raw. They have no heels. But SmackDown too, they only have the Roman, that's a real standout. So they could really turn the dial up on AJ. And if he's got that, he could become a real pain in the ass, but a threat, especially with Omos, with him having the briefcase and Omos being that like X factor. I think that would be a great thing.
So I got two on my mind right now. I would give the Money in the Bank to Big E Langston or Kevin Owens. I would give it to a face, probably.
Faces are better with the briefcase, but
not necessarily, but because
I always like faces that felt more
usually
hopeful,
usually the heel wins. But since the briefcase is dead, we need to have a face who can show up and the crowd pops because the cash-in's happening and the people like the person cashing in. And the people ideally would hate the person they're cashing in on. So you would have Roman Reigns just killing it for the next 6 months, still killing it, the family, the Roman Reigns, the whatever. And the idea that
let him go through Mania with it.
Right. Big E would show up with it, or there's a callback to Kevin Owens showing up with it. The crowd would pop. I think Kevin Owens and Roman are actually building a rivalry here for the first time in a long time in WWE. I actually believe that Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns are starting to make me feel like they're peas in a pod. Like not
like it's Stone Cold and Rock.
Yes, not on the level, not quite the level of that,
level,
but
no,
it's,
I do agree. But sadly, now we got to the point where it's over. Like their feud's done. But the good thing is that it could be touched on again in future. So that's a good thing. I appreciate that. Just like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn can always be revisited, you need those type of feuds that you can literally just feature, pop in. You need those kind of things in between moments. And the reason I said AJ as well is because if you said it's a new briefcase, then I want to have a legitimate person, a former champion, be the first person to hold it. So he puts it over.
Good job.
Because if you have an actual new guy, even a Ricochet who hasn't really been a champion yet, you get somebody.
Rollins is my number 3. What do you think about Rollins? Rollins is my number 3.
Rollins is a great pick as well, and that works really well because you legitimize this new briefcase, and then the second time you have it, that's when you let somebody be built as a star, because the first winner is legitimate and they successfully cashed in. You need to have the cash in be successful and surprising. It can't be expected, and it should never be the same night as when you win it. I hate that.
And speaking
so many times with the women.
Speaking of Money in the Bank, tomorrow night, Friday night, tomorrow is a party in the JCS community as Monetize This is live tomorrow night. And guess what? Tomorrow night, somebody is going to have the chance to win points in the bank. Drew Bar 100 is the king of the wheel, but somebody's going to win the points in the bank tomorrow night. And so the person who becomes the king of the wheel tomorrow night will also receive points in the bank for the championship night coming up in a few weeks. Casey, how's it been? You stinking up that belt, or what's going on?
I don't want no one to take this from me.
Oh, you better call Himmel Christ.
Yeah, you better find a
better call Himmel Christ
now.
Casey, Casey, who should be the next Money in the Bank holder in the WWE or in wrestling? We've been talking about that.
Oh God. I mean, I would love to see Ricochet, but I mean, they've been pushing his ass down,
Right.
Yeah, they've buried him. And I hate that word, but they've buried him. They've ruined him. Exactly. And I know I said I hate the same day cash-ins. I sound like a hypocrite because I was excited when I was there in person when Bayley won and cashed in, but you get caught up in the moment.
You can't help
so
it.
Many better things.
No, you're there. That's greedy. You're going to be greedy and be like, hell yeah, this is great. You're going to be like that.
But then we also saw Lesnar win randomly, so I got my karma.
Yeah, that's okay though. I get it.
No, honestly, there were so many better stories they could have told with that, especially if you hold on to the briefcase. I never liked the same time cash-ins. When they did it with Dean, when they did it, the only thing that was cool about that, I guess, is that every member of the Shield held it that night.
Yeah,
And Roman had the wellness violation.
That's so weird, but yeah. Oh man!
But besides that, I think they should have held on to that. Same way they had the story with Seth holding the briefcase. Dean should have held that and tormented Seth. That would have been funnier.
I'm really looking forward to getting that Monetize This championship back here. I'm still waiting to get it back here.
In a long time.
The promos, the promos that I will cut when I get that belt back are going to be fire, and I'm also going to hit Leah in the head with the belt too. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, man,
dude, with the plates on this thing, you can kill her with that.
Yeah, you can knock a bitch out with that thing. I told people always go that stupid plastic belt. I'm like, dude, this thing's a fucking solid belt. This thing will waffle somebody.
It's heavy as fuck.
Hold the belt up on camera and bang it with your knuckles so people can see what we're talking about. You hear that? That will crack somebody. Wouldn't it be funny if it cracked in half?
Solid, I'll tell you that. It's heavy too. When we brought it to Money in the Bank and take over, I think it was 20 or 25, whichever one it was. They went ahead and everybody was picking it up. They're like, "Holy crap, that's legit." We're like, "Yeah, that's a real belt, baby.
Yeah,
it's not plastic."
And it fits.
Oh no,
it fits really good. It's not like a giant belt, but it's a nice looking belt, man. It's pretty damn good,
I'm announcing it now. I'm endorsing Joe to be the next Monetize This champion.
Ooh, yeah, bring it home. Bring the belt home.
The belt come home because that is the only person I want to take the belt from.
Oh, yes, you want me to be champion so you can take it.
That's exactly.
And then I'm forced to
from anybody. Taking it from Casey doesn't feel rewarding, but from you.
And then I'm forced to leave my house, drive to Botch Club, and then drop it off to you in person. That's what's going to happen.
Absolutely, that's what's going to happen. When you drop it off, I'm going to make you drop down on your knees too.
Imagine if I just show up at Botch Club's barber shop out of nowhere and I just waffle him in the back of the head with the belt. He's not looking.
Show up. Here's for your clip.
Yeah, here you go. How about that?
Hey, get this shit. Bullfrog thinks I went to Jman and begged for him to donate that crazy amount of money for me to win.
Well, you did
saw
do
the
that.
Conversation.
We know you did it. I mean, come on, Casey, come on.
Yeah,
we know we did. Come on.
Lie. Just like Tommy didn't write the balloon.
Yeah, we know what happened. Come on. We get it. You know what I mean?
You're champ.
You're a beggar. You're a beggar.
Happier that you're champ. Cookies, bud. Cookies.
You're a beggar. Let's listen. Tomorrow night, I will clear this all up. Tomorrow night, I'll monetize this. Casey is raw. I love you, brother. You are the champion, and thank you for being here tonight. Love you, Casey. Mwah. Love you, brother.
Casey,
see you tomorrow night. I'll monetize this, Casey. Bring that belt with you. Bring that belt with you, you big son of a bitch. Okay. Back to the deal. But thank you for Casey for coming in, man. Promoting monetize this tomorrow night, which will be back. It's going to be back on Corrupted Nation tomorrow night. So guys, monetize this back on Corrupted Nation.
That means truly uncensored because you be demonetized.
Back to uncensored again. We don't give a damn. Hell yeah. Let me play a dono real quick. We'll get back to a couple more things here. We get more news.
Shit bomb!
Oh, shit.
Soundwave again.
You become
another 20.
A shit bomb.
20 bomb.
I connect more with the 3,040 years olds. I grew up on Austin and The Rock, but wrestling is at its best when the wrestlers make it feel real and tell a story. Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit were guys who gave me a lot of that.
Yeah, see, and I thought Edge was too for me personally because I really, really appreciate the fact that WWE let them tell the Matt and relationship story. So that was
Joe,
cool.
Oh my gosh, I died laughing at the start of the show. Jake was reading off the Raw viewership ratings in the age groups. Jake said something like Raw was up to this week with teenage boys, and Joe was like, you. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, dude,
that was great.
I heard that and I was like, oh my God, we're going QAnon here.
Boys. I don't know what's up, but they apparently like Edge.
Chris Jericho sucks, baby. Thank you very much. Wait a minute. How can you say Chris Jericho sucks, though? That's terrible. I can't believe you said Chris Jericho sucks. That's crazy.
I like that. He's going to make an hour show on that.
I'm not doing the politics again, though, Mike. I'm not doing it. I already lost the fucking producer yesterday because of it. If you guys want to become...
Jericho's going to go live on his show, and he'll take care of it.
Yeah, Jericho
every Saturday night.
Jericho will storm the Capitol, brother.
Yeah, really.
I love Jericho. He's whacked. Oh, no. Hey. We kick your ass, Philly. The Bruins kick your ass. Yeah.
Motherfucking known PCs. In Philly, we're shitty. In Philly, we're shitty. In Soul City, we'll eat our own shitty. In Philly, that's why our mascot looks like a...
What's good, Joe and Jake? I haven't been watching too much NXT, just AEW on Wednesday nights. I just want to see Tony's nipple slip. Haha, she's so fucking fine.
Oh, man. Listen, everybody can understand that.
Tony Storm in a thong, I think, would break the internet.
Alabama with the Ocho.
Yeah, coming in with Gritty. Speaking of Gritty, they did change the Dark and Gritty match that they were going to have this Wednesday of a Lights Out match. Now it's a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Oh.
So we've got Jon Moxley and Lance Archer taking on Kenny Omega with Don Callis and New Japan's own Kenta. So the Go to Sleep Club will be in full effect. And hell of a tag match. They just changed it from a Lights Out to Falls Count Anywhere. So basically the same thing, but interesting enough to make that change. We talked about them having the open relationship and how eventually, we knew it would happen, but I'm glad that they were able to use Moxley and the title that he had and the fans as leverage to get the deal to happen sooner. So let's see what happens going forward. Tony Khan, talking to Jericho, said that one of the things he didn't like was the Matt Hardy teleportation thing. and Jericho said it was his idea, but it was one of the few that he didn't like.
Oh, he didn't like the Hardy
No.
teleportation?
No, Tony Khan didn't, and he wishes he didn't do it. So
Wait,
he said, "I wish we hadn't done it, but it was all my fault." So
when was this? What teleportation exactly were we talking about?
when Matt first debuted, remember, and he went ahead and he appeared down the stadium.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, and he like
was in Daly's place, but they didn't have enough time.
he blinked
to tape it right.
around, all funny.
Yeah, and he kept appearing, and you could see Jericho moving, so it just looked really ridiculous. And
Yeah.
Tony said, the way it was executed, the way we were talking about it, I knew it wasn't going to work, and that's the perfect example of things I didn't do very many of them this year. Excuse me. He said we had mistakes this year, but I tried to cut down on that, which is true. You notice if something didn't work, they often didn't do it again.
Yeah,
so.
you got to give it to Tony Khan about that. Is that he doesn't just he does go back and say like, yeah, this didn't work, or even if he doesn't say it, we never heard him say this stuff. We just know he did it because things get better. They do. It's like something when you start a show and it's not the best, and then it gets much better by the end of it or whatever, and you go back and watch the first ones and you go, wow, this was way worse. And yeah, it's like they learn from their little mistakes. They see it too, because they're people who are like you guys in the chat, and like us, a lot of them are critics as well, like super critics. So like when they do something, a lot of times they critique it themselves, and they go, wow, yeah, that was weird, like, and then they fix it. So at
least they do alter and course correct.
But I liked all that
changes.
stuff. I thought that was a little bit of a like, ooh, that didn't look so good, but I still thought it was funny, so I accepted it.
I didn't hate it, but I also gave them a pass because it was like the very first or second like COVID episode at that point in time with no fans, and on top of it, that was Matt's debut, and I think it was Brody's debut as well. All these big things they had planned that just kind of came to a screeching halt with no fans there, and on top of it, they had no time at all to film that idea. So I knew
it was
the
just like I'm surprised that they didn't throw that part out a little bit, like because you were like, wow,
you saw how bad it was.
It was edited bad. You watched that edit and you went, let's put that on TV.
Yeah,
like
that's
that
why
was
he
strange.
said he knew it didn't work and it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So at least he admits to it though, and he's been. Pretty on the ball as far as we've said. Now, one thing that also has drawn surprisingly a lot more criticism than I expected is Tyler Reks basically announced that they were transitioning into a female. So Tyler is becoming Gabby. And I don't know if they're going to continue wrestling anymore, but
where is Tyler Reks wrestling?
I don't know where they are currently. Let me double check.
So that, really, this is like a non-thing. Like I saw it too, and I was like, okay, they're transitioning into a woman. Maybe AW will hire him now, because now him and Nyla Rose can.
But it was brief, so I don't think they're wrestling anywhere at this point. I don't know where they are now.
Yeah, I don't know
SmackDown was. Let's see. The last time I see any matches was 2014 with Kurt Hawkins.
Is it a joke? Is he really
Archer and Kevin Matthews?
It was
in Pro Wrestling Syndicate.
It's not a joke. It's real, right? Like he really is changing.
Yeah. No, it on February 4th, 2021, Tuft came out as a trans woman and announced that he is now a she, going as Gabe Tuft.
Gabe Tuft.
Gabe Tuft, and that's his real last name. And I keep saying her wife, Priscilla Tuft, is very she's promoting all of this and very supportive, so that's good for them. She said, tomorrow we will share the most pivotal transformation in 23 years together. The sweetest gift you can give your partner is not holding them responsible for your happiness. Personal alignment comes first. Everything else is a condiment on your bliss sandwich. So
is he still plowing her with his pecker, or
I don't know if we've seen any surgical transformation. We just hear that they're now officially going as female. So
okay,
I don't know if they said they are transitioning into a woman. So
okay,
from everything that I read, it says here that a tough pro wrestler who made opponents quiver to the cheer of millions of adoring fans. He battled iconic WWE mega TV events seen across the world.
I have a question. Listen, I you know what I mean? You become whoever you're supposed to be. Go ahead. I'm supporting.
Absolutely.
But Here's my question. The wife of this man, formerly man, married a buff, manly, muscular guy. And
now they have transitioned into a buff, manly, masculine female.
Yeah, so I'm
sorry, I don't mean to sound...
I give credit to the wife because you would think the wife would be like...
I give a ton of credit to the wife because, funny enough, this happened not that long ago, but it wasn't a celebrity thing, and Courtney and I had this conversation, and we talked about it. And it's like, imagine if your partner is gay, and it's like, how do you deal with that? But not only gay, but transitioning as well. That's a huge change to your life. And I mean, you wonder what
that's called a divorce.
So long. Are you comfortable? Is there any? I'm not saying they're deranged because they want to transition. That's not it. But is there a mental disorder that caused them to wait this long or not have? There's usually a mental health issue involved.
So is he now transitioned into a woman who's a lesbian?
Basically, yes.
But his wife is gonna now be a lesbian.
Yeah, she said that they've been together for 23 years and continue to support. But it genuinely just looks like he just put a dress on.
I would pay $200 for the porn. Like, I'm not kidding. I want to see this.
I am curious, no doubt. But hopefully, if he does have surgical transitioning, he continues to get some plastic surgery done. Because
I predict she leaves him after all the attention goes away, so she doesn't get canceled.
So she doesn't look like a bad person.
Yeah, like this ain't gonna work.
I tried to make it work, but we just couldn't. Really, she's at home screaming at him. And
I don't know, man. Maybe if she's bi, then or if she discovers that. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. I'm too clueless on this whole thing to even know. Interesting stuff, though.
Like I said, not that it's based on looks, because like you said, be who you are, be happy. But
now he got released.
Tyler does not look great as Gabby, so hopefully there's some surgery in Gabby's future.
When does he? When did
I have much room to talk? But you're the one coming out saying you're a female now, looking to be judged. So
when did when did this person? When did they get released by WWE?
2012.
Jesus,
was the last time
they've done nothing since then, right? I mean,
they were in FCW in 2008, ECW till 2010, SmackDown from 2010 and 11, and then they teamed with Kurt Hawkins until 2012, and then was released.
So Steve Cutler is the next. He'll be the next to go trans. Steve Cutler come into a.
He asked for his release because he wanted to retire from wrestling to spend more time with her family. She parted ways with WWE August 21st in 2012, and then they reunited in 2014 at Pro Wrestling Syndicate, as I said, and that's it.
Okay. Well, congrats to him. He's been gone forever.
Married for 23 years, I think they said, or together 23 years.
Wow.
They've been together since July 2002.
What does she do now? I'd love to know. Like, gym. Take that, Jade. Now we got a different
daughter as
female.
well, who was born November 2011. So,
okay, well that's.
And she underwent open heart surgery in 2019.
Oh shit! Really? Jesus. Sharp Nose Gamer says, "Hey Joe and Jake, I have a question. What are the moves that you totally hate or can't stand in wrestling? No goofy moves, real moves." Justin Bailey, Justin Bailey. Much love from Rio de Janeiro. Sharp Nose Gamer, thanks for the $3. Moves that I can't stand. I can't stand the punches anymore. Those like half-assed like wrist punches that everybody does. I hate those. I hate the suicide dive because everybody does it and most of them look stupid. I hate that everybody just does the super kick.
Like I'm copying you there, but like I absolutely cannot stand the dives. They look terrible. It takes so much participation from your opponent. It's dangerous. So many people get injured. We see it all the time where there's these stupid friggin' injuries that are so unnecessary. And especially when they don't have fans, the dives are the fan, mark out moments. That's when you're supposed to get the fans to cheer. They don't need to be doing it for no fans or little fans on either show. They're so heavily reliant on it. You see 2 or 3 a match, it feels like, in every match. It doesn't look effective at all because no one's ever, hurt by it. No one sells anything from it. And you can tell, like I said, the participation, it's all a partnership moment. They have to catch you. And it's dangerous because you're throwing your body at their body with no payoff for it.
But Darby, Ray Phoenix do it great. I love theirs. Love Darby and Ray Phoenix.
They're the outliers because everybody else that does it sucks. They look like, like they're fairy hopping over the ropes or through the ropes, and they go ahead and land like, gymnasts, not wrestlers.
Somebody in the chat said, "Oh my God, more people coming out trans." Or no, Nathan didn't really say it like that. He said, "I see more people coming out trans." Yeah, you know, you're going to see that because for all the exactly for all the shitty, and obviously there's a bunch of shitty SJWs out there and a bunch of people doing attention stuff that's terrible and toxic and ridiculous. But on the good side of things, people who were going to be trans originally or afraid to do it or whatever are coming out and being comfortable with it. So it's not that, you know, for anybody who's like phobic of it or whatever, or you're like, oh my God, everyone's trans now, or you're freaking out about it. Basically, most of the time, these people would have been that anyway. They were just terrified to come out. So it's not a big deal. Yeah, there's some people who are doing it for attention, maybe, sure. But 90%, I think, are just people that weren't able to sort of say it like they could have before. So it's not really, I don't really think it's that crazy.
They're able to go ahead and actually be themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, the SJWs, fuck them, but you know what I'm talking about.
Back on the move thing too, before we get too past that, I know you didn't like the 5-knuckle shuffle, people's elbow, things like that.
Oh
right?
God, I hate back in the day when it was the Attitude Era. I remember when The Rock, and like this goes back. I've been critiquing WWE since back in the day. WrestleMania 15, around WrestleMania 15, I think it was around that time. I was 15 years old. It was WrestleMania 15, and The Rock at some point started wearing gym pants, and he was always out there wrestling not in his tights. He was wrestling in long gym pants, and then his finishing move was the people's elbow. He started like, instead of doing the rock bottom, it was the people's elbow. And dude, that fucking infuriated me. If I had a podcast at the time, because dude, I'm sorry, like at least the leg drop looks like maybe you're coming down on a guy's throat or something. People's elbow to the side of the chest. I mean, what a garbage piece of shit.
Elbow to the heart. So I was like,
no, it was not to the heart usually though. It's to the other side.
They never delivered it that way, but that was what it's defined as.
Dude, that and the 5-knuckle shuffle and the people's elbow are wonderful crowd setup moves.
Participation.
Yes, they're great.
The crowd popped. And that works better than killing yourself, as we've said, too. Instead of diving to the outside and almost breaking your neck, when Enzo used to do his little feet shuffle, that got more of a reaction than someone doing, a 1080. So
yeah, and it'd be like if Hogan won with the big boot instead of the leg drop. Like he hits him with the big boot and then it's over. Like it's like
you're missing something.
Not even like it's funny because I never thought, as obviously I was a kid watching Hulk Hogan. But once 1997 and 1998 started happening, I always thought to myself, man, it's hard to imagine that a guy used to win with a leg drop. That's so crazy. And then when The Rock started using the people's elbow as a finisher, I started being like, oh my God, what are we going back in time? Now it shows how over The Rock was and how over the move was that, people would buy into this elbow as being a finisher, but it was like, I never thought I would see anything like a leg drop ever again. And not only did we see a leg drop, but we saw worse. Like the elbow to me is lower tier than a leg drop.
And I don't like the caterpillar that Otis does. Like,
again, those are setup moves.
I hate it. I don't care for it.
They're setup moves. They're not finishers, though.
Yeah, I'm just talking about moves in general, not just finishers. But
so I don't mind those moves because they're like fun and stuff, and like they're like a. They're kind of like a fuck you in your face little move, like slapping a guy in the face. Yeah. Like taunting him with the crowd and stuff. Like, I don't mind that. I just don't.
It's like the rear view I don't care for, Like,
I don't mind that. Sometimes that looks hard. Dude, I disagree. I think the rear view sometimes.
In my face, no doubt, but I don't want to use it as a wrestling move.
But it looks
silly.
But it looks awesome sometimes. Women have actually been concussed. Like when she jumps up and then someone just bashes into her, because you'd go down if you wouldn't see that coming. When you launch yourself up in the air and then float backwards with your ass in the air as someone's running at you, you're gonna get clipped in the head. Now, I don't think that's a finisher. Again, I don't think that's a finisher usually. Now, if you hit it, it's a lot better than many other things.
Yeah, it's like MVPs and the boom drop and, there's a lot of them. But the one that used to really drive me nuts, I hated as a finisher specifically, that I always got a lot of heat for with friends, was the Samoan spike for Umaga. Now, I didn't like Umaga much to begin with, crazily enough. I was never a big Umaga fan.
He was good, anybody?
It just didn't work for me personally. Plus I wasn't really into much wrestling.
I thought he was viable as a big mid guy, like who could do stuff, and I like him as a utility big man. He wasn't a crazy fucking amazing thing. He was just a good utility big guy for the lower mid card.
Yeah, I don't think in the main eventer that they pushed him to be, but
they tried, and you're right. I think you found out that like
Armando Leandro Estrada.
He was. I think Vader was better. I think Yokozuna was better. So he was, and I even think Rikishi might have been better. So, you know, Umaga was good.
Like the idea of the thumb being, you know, like, oh, he pushed it in. It's just one of those moves. Like you could block it by doing this. That's a bad defense. You know, like you shouldn't be able to stop a finisher by looking down. You know, that's the problem there. So,
yeah.
Like people said, oh, the Bronco Buster.
A punch to the throat, though, is still more believable than half of these other things we're talking about. A shot to the throat.
I like I said, I get it, you know, hitting your windpipe, but it never looked like as devastating as they tried to make it sound to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's wrestling. I don't think I didn't have that big a problem.
Talking about moves we didn't care for, so
yeah,
you know,
it wasn't.
That was one that always stood out for me that I just. Same thing with Hornswoggle.
So you never liked the claw. You definitely hated the claw from Kowalski.
Yeah, I didn't care for that. What's his name? The Great Khali, his as well. And yeah, no.
See, I didn't mind it from Kowalski and Khali, especially Khali, because the guy's fucking hand fits around an entire head, and it makes the head look so like it looks insane when you see this man's hands wrap around a head. So. I don't mind
size
it.
Of it, but he was just so ineffective because he couldn't even walk. Like to me,
well, I agree that Khali was
in the ring. That it took me out of it. Seeing him always immediately pulled me out of it, and I'm like, oh, this is fake. Like when I watch wrestling, I'm usually able to suspend that disbelief. Seeing people with him in there, it was like, yep, they have to do this because he can't even walk to the ring at this point.
Yeah,
his legs only got worse.
He got really bad. I still think Khali was a good. He was probably like. I think Khali was better than most of the big men, but not better than the top guys at all. Not even close. So he's like, I don't know. What would you put? I'd put Khali in the middle all time of the big men of WWE. I'd put him in the middle. I'd actually put him.
I'd put him pretty low. Personally.
Really, I'd put him.
I'm sure I could think of a few people that would be worse than him.
Like Gonzalez Gonzalez, Yeti. They're at the bottom.
They're down there more. I mean, Khali did a little bit more than those two. At least he had his own match with the Punjabi prison.
What do you think? Who do you think's better, King Kong Bundy or Khali?
King Kong Bundy by far.
I think so too.
Oh,
yeah. I go King Kong Bundy as well. Yeah.
Yeah. George the Animal Steel, loved him.
Yeah, and I think George the Animal Steel is more comparable to like Umaga.
Out for that as a kid and seeing him rip apart the ring, and it was great. You know, those moments were fun, and I liked the big guys. I liked Andre. My mom has a picture somewhere with Andre's hand, over her face. And it's so massive, it looks like she's a Barbie doll.
I think it's like Kowalski, Andre Kowalski, people like that, and then somewhere down middle bottom is Khali, and then certainly Great Giant Gonzalez and the Yeti have to be the worst ever. Big men.
Yeah.
And Big Show's up there in the top 3 too, also.
People used to complain about the bionic elbow. I don't understand why. I mean, there's nothing, bionic, but that's the whole point. It was supposed to be that he was, larger than life, more human than human. He was the bionic man in that sense. And
right.
So powerful, it was a devastating move. There wasn't like many moves that stand. Like now, I agree with some people that said in the chat, you always see super kicks. You always see Canadian destroyers. That used to be something that was a finisher, and then all of a sudden it became just a filler move. Super kicks and a lot of dives that used to be considered fancy. Now you see them all the time as well.
Yeah,
a lot of people used to not care for old school. Surprisingly enough, I like that with Undertaker.
I like that.
That took me out of it because they're like, there's participation. The person he's wrestling has to hold him. But the point is, he's got that arm twisted, so he has control over you. And then the point of the move is that he's raking tension the entire time on your shoulder. He's using that to continue his elevation, using the elevation against you to put more weight on your shoulder, and then he jumps down and chops your arm. Right. That mentally checks off. It makes sense. It works. It's feasible.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give that a problem. The worm, to me, him skipping around the ring didn't serve a purpose.
I got to tell you,
walking the ropes hurt your arm.
You want to hear a funny little quick story about that? Is I was doing commentary for Top Rope Promotions, and Les Thatcher's doing commentary with me. And Les Thatcher, very similar to Jim Ross during the commentary. Les Thatcher started sort of, I don't know if it was like breaking kayfabe / critiquing the wrestlers, like a lot. So like throughout the night he was doing that. And it was like I didn't know what to do, like try to cover it up or try to like not do, like I'm trying not to bury people, but Les Thatcher is burying people, and he's Les Thatcher. Les Thatcher's,
he can do it. You're not.
I'm just
at
like
that level.
He's like Joe. They really, when you go out and pay attention to the crowd like this, whatever, and he's just ranting on the wrestlers, and at the end with Scotty, man, he was like, oh man, these type of things. He just was like, didn't like the worm at all. He was like, yeah. Well, I guess the people love it, Joe. Like he says, like, and he's like really burying it the whole time.
I wouldn't know what to say in that position.
And I'm like,
so awkward. I'm like, oh yeah, the people certainly do enjoy the worm.
Yeah,
I
just Matt Strykered it. I was like, yeah, well, I'll tell you, Les, this may not be your classic style and your dad's wrestling for sure, but it's apparently effective tonight, and the crowd loves it. And Les would be like, well, I guess that's something. Yeah, he was just so, and I was like, oh my God.
Something.
Les Thatcher's burying Scotty 2 Hotty, who's not even in the WWE anymore. He's working the indie circuit. It's the year 2016, and Les Thatcher's just shitting on Scotty 2 Hotty. And he's like, Scotty 2 Hotty is like the draw, right? He's like the main event, like, hey, come watch us wrestle, but guess who's going to be here? WWE wrestler Scotty 2 Hotty. And, you know, sold out 300 people, and Les Thatcher's just like, This is the type of stuff that drives me nuts, Joe. Like, and I'm like, so I just started treating him as a heel. I started being like, well, you know, the people love it though, Les. Well, I understand, but it's not the smartest thing, I don't think, to be doing. I'm like, it's his finisher.
That's it. He's gotta, you know.
It was just wicked funny. Happen. He didn't give a shit. He was like, nope, I'm gonna shit on this. At one point, I'm like, you know, I don't think he's gonna hear this, Les. You know, like, because he was like trying to say it,
trying
like,
to give him,
yeah, like Scotty was gonna hear it. Yeah, it was literally like like I'm gonna play this for him. Yes, I'm gonna go tell the guy who got over on television in front of 11 million people with this move. I'm gonna go tell that guy after now his career there is done and he's working it on the indies in front of the 300 people that are cheering for it. I'm gonna go tell him, stop doing that. You know what I mean? Like we're like, it was like, what are you doing? Like, it's fucking hilarious.
Speaking of amusing stories, Hurricane Helms tweeted out that at the Rumble, Casey Catanzaro was with Hurricane Helms, and he, you know, was getting ready for the men's Rumble stuff, and he gets a call from Bianca Belair, or Casey does, and she says that her husband, Montez Ford, is at the gate, which is closed at this point, and no one's letting them in. The women's Rumble is starting, so Casey goes ahead and she lets Hurricane know. So they take off running. They have to go through the big-ass arena, through security, through the gate. They finally get Tez back through all of it just in time so that he can see his wife win the Royal Rumble. So I'm glad he was able to see her make history, as Bianca Belair is the first African-American female to win the Royal Rumble, first black woman. So that's huge, obviously.
Yeah, and, you know, another interesting
thing. She didn't even realize that, you know, it wasn't about race for her. And then people made note of that statistic when she was on the conference call. And she was like, I didn't even realize I made history till people let me know after, you know, the match backstage.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm so appreciative. The promo she cut really came from the heart. And I appreciate what she did. So.
Yeah, I mean, she got over
a funny story to hear them taking off in that fact that he almost missed her win. So glad he caught it.
After watching the Royal Rumble behind the scenes for the last couple, there's been multiple years of Royal Rumble behind the scenes. It's actually crazy how sometimes people almost didn't make it to the goddamn Rumble. They're in the back and something. Did you see the Batista documentary where his like shoe broke?
Yep.
And he's like trying to get there in time, and there was one a couple of years ago.
There was another one as well where they had an entrant and something had occurred like that where the timing had gotten changed with numbers. They weren't in the right spot.
Rey Mysterio got sick one time, like right before, and they didn't know if he was going to make it out in time. And
he played his music, and they didn't get to launch him up right away. That's why his music just kept playing. He was in the bathroom like dying, and then he ran from the bathroom to the stage.
Yeah, and it's
to get launched in the air with that.
And it's
pyro
not
thing.
I I envision like people waiting in the like in the gorilla, like waiting, like the next 3-4 people who are coming out are waiting in gorilla. But like a lot of the cases, they were like just still wandering around and shit. Like, and it's like, oh, you're up next, and you got to run all the way out. And I was like, wow, they just fucking cut it really close.
But they do, but it just felt so lackadaisical.
Yeah, it's just funny. I picture them being like getting instructions and waiting. Here comes Colonel Santos.
Fuck Karen, suck my dick. And fuck cancel culture shit. Fuck Karen, you dumb bitch. Fuck Karen, suck my dick. And fuck cancel culture shit. Fuck Karen, you dumb
Hey, thanks for subbing to the channel, Jackson. Welcome, Jackson.
Colonel Santos tipped $3.
Yo!
I saw your Twitter. You want to go somewhere?
Let's go.
Come to Manila City in Philippines. I'll set you up with all the hot Filipinas.
Ooh.
Hopefully Leah won't mind.
You said
and fuck that piece of my shit. AJ Adams, open your mouth wide so I can take a fat bilat dump, you spooky bobo.
Jesus. Oh my God. Sith Negan for the 22 months on Twitch. Sith Negan, man.
Negan.
By the way, my new Twitch handle is twitch.tv/evilspectrum3.
Just donate to Joel.
Thank you.
Thank you for the donation.
Thank you, Sith Negan.
And because you donated, I'm going to fist myself in the bunghole.
Oh, God, look at this. I'll take
Colonel Santos tipped $3. Cho, I am offering you 10% stake for $100,000 for my granddaughter/son pedo Khali. That's right, that's an valuation of $1 million.
Wow.
We need to catch sick pedo fucks like AJ Adams. So what are you waiting for? Are you in?
It's $1 million company.
Wow, man, I get
buy
a 10% stake in the company catching pedos. Oh, man.
I'm all for it. I will support you, but I'm gonna have to be out on this one. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, Jake's out.
Are you ready for this?
Black Bolt tipped $5.
Black Bolt, son. Thanks for the $5, Black Bolt.
On Joe's face.
And you can actually give money to the show for free if you have Amazon Prime. Just subscribe to my Twitch, which is no longer twitch.tv/JoeCroninJCS. It's twitch.tv/EvilSpectrum3. So my Twitch is aligned with my gaming YouTube channel. So all my gaming stuff is now Evil Spectrum 3, where I go by Evil Spectrum 3 instead of Joe Cronin JCS. So that's part of why I had to reset all the donos, because when I did that, it reset everything, and I'm dumb. But just wanted to change the branding of that. So that's
all the gaming stuff is together. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, because when a lot of the gaming audience doesn't even know these shows, and they're like, "What's Joe Cronin?"
Yeah.
Like, it's weird.
Exactly. So it keeps everything well branded. Speaking of face coming and creepy bastards, Alexa Bliss is dealing with her own stalker still.
Here we go.
And this creepy bastard just keeps taunting her on Twitter. And she's like, "Oh, look, you got a new account." And it's amazing how the people that do get banned, they're right back 2 seconds later. It doesn't matter. They've got 300 accounts.
Right.
And he's constantly tweeting at her, and I'm going to kill your wife kill your husband. And, Ryan Cabrera, he tweets at her directly and tweets at him directly as well. And just, get a good night's rest. I'm watching you. Tomorrow is going to be interesting. You better leave my wife alone and return her to me. All this kind of sick stuff. And so you report the bastard, but he's just going to come back. It speaks more on
that's going to get investigated, Twitter, though. That's going to get they're going to subpoena Twitter for his IP address.
I would hope they do something, because nothing's happened of it. But
if you want to subpoena Twitter, you can figure it out. Like with those type of threats,
you figure he doesn't get banned. It just continually keeps resurfacing and getting a new account and another new account. So it's sadistic how these people can just get away with this shit.
Weird.
I know there's Sonya Deville storyline, but it's true and it's disgusting. So
well, hopefully she'll keep tweeting it out enough, and some hacker group will find the guy.
Hopefully, but you figure WWE wants these people to be so sociable and make so much of their personal and lives public, not private. Okay, fine, but they should at least pay for them to have security or security measures involved.
Oh God, are you kidding?
WWE should be doing something for people.
Yeah, I mean,
clearly it's not. Nothing isn't working.
Time no.
It's getting to the point now where one of these, women stars is going to get kidnapped, killed, or raped. Something god awful that you don't want to see.
They need to arm these women. Arm these women before they get AOC'd.
Yeah, exactly.
Arm them with a handgun or something. Imagine Alexa Bliss just taking somebody out.
And yeah, well, that's the thing. Bliss responding to it saying, "Oh, I know this. Oh, this looks like it's your new account." She usually doesn't, I think, always respond, but her trying to bring attention to it is to get people to ban that. I think that's what she was doing.
Yeah,
because she can't say ban this guy without getting herself in trouble. But if she just says, "Oh, look, it's you again," people know, and then they go and they ban him. So,
that guy.
There are no positive benefits to having Twitter anymore. It used to be, it's good as a social networking site. And it's fun to go ahead and interact with people, and it still has some of that, but it's become such a cesspool. And
yeah, Twitter has become whatever. What was that other site that really got horrific? With a lot of women were on it actually, and it just got nasty. It was called Tumblr.
Yep, you nailed it.
Yeah, the entire Tumblr crowd came to Twitter. It feels like, and then more and.
All those furries.
And the Twitter kept feeding the negative people. That's why Twitter feeds the negative. Like they feed it, and they don't even know they do that. Jack Dorsey, he's an idiot, and that dumb lady that he's got with him that works on it, they're stupid. They don't even know what they're doing. They literally feed evil people. They don't even know that. They think like, oh, we banned somebody good, but they don't even realize that the person was attacked by everybody. Like they're just so stupid. The whole Twitter's
absolutely.
a nightmare.
And, people suggested it. Make your account private. I saw a lot of people say that. But why should you have to succumb to the whim of a madman? The whim of a madman. You can tell I watched Speed recently. Any of it. Going through all my quick little news pieces that I have here. Toni Storm wasn't supposed to be involved in the Rumble, but she replaced Mia Yim because she had COVID-19. So did, obviously, her better half and Keith Lee. That's why he missed the men's Rumble.
COVID.
Casey Catanzaro was also there to
Seth
fill in.
Rollins versus Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens versus Cesaro/Nakamura 6-man ladder match for IC belt.
Yeah.
Have Cesaro win. Miz will definitely win World Championship, and Bullfrog will win monetize World Heavyweight Champ.
Definitely don't see Cesaro winning, but I could see Big E or, Daniel Bryan or Seth Rollins winning. I don't think Kevin Owens. I mean, maybe, but yeah, there's definitely got to be a multi-man match because they're going to run out of room for some people.
Sounds like an amazing match, though, and I would sign me up for that. 1 and 2. Cesaro isn't a bad winner because you figure if Daniel Bryan is going to be transitioning into a part-timer after this WrestleMania.
Oh, I thought you meant a female. It's going to go.
No.
Daniel Bryan's becoming a female.
Amanda Carmen left again for the 5th time. Haha, she's nothing but a Jesuit pawn flip-flopped. Glad she did not win. Was afraid with those 21 odds. She folded like a tent.
Oh my God. Gem F News. Okay. I don't think she left anything. I didn't hear her say anything about leaving.
I'm not sure. You never know
she
nowadays.
takes breaks.
People come and go as they please.
Who knows, man? Some people leave, come, go. You never know what the hell people are going to do, bro.
Coming and going, though. WWE didn't want to use NXT as we originally said, but because of some of the changes, COVID restrictions, and people getting sick, they had to involve some of the females from NXT to come up to the Rumble. Like Casey was there, but she didn't get used. They did use Dakota Kai and Toni Storm, as we saw. Their plan was just to have Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest from NXT since they were both debuting on the main roster.
You become a shit bomb.
Justin Monday.
Don't put a black light to that belt.
Yeah,
exactly.
You never know what's going to happen.
Raw. I mean, I did enough to that thing. And then you add Casey to it, and Drew stole it at one point. It's been in Canada. That sick place for how long now?
Can you imagine the juices that are going to come?
Steers and queers up in Canada, Joe.
There's going to be some juices on that belt that you've never seen before.
Oh, it's leaking. You squeeze that thing out, it's filled with DNA.
Yo, Ty Cares. Ty Cares, thank you so much for becoming a member on my Twitch channel. Oh, and he also subscribed. Ty, thanks for subbing to me on Twitch. Twitch.tv/EvilSpectrum3, where I play a lot of Diablo, PUBG. And I played Warzone the other night with Troy. If you guys missed that, 2 a.m. in the morning, me, Troy, and his buddy, we played some Warzone. I was tired as shit when we got the hell beat out of us, but it was fun. Follow me on Twitch. Subscribe on Twitch for free on Amazon. Give me money. Costs you nothing. That's fun. And don't forget to sign up on Patreon because I got my podcasts, Jake and me, and Corrupted this Saturday night. And a lot of you guys got unsubbed on Patreon because Patreon had that little glitch again. But we're back to 280 patrons already. So we got to climb back up to at least 300, if not a little more. So 30 hours of bonus content coming this month. Tons of shows. Patreon, help the shows out. Whatever you want to be at, $5, $10, $2, $1, $25. Sith Negan is at $100. Coming up, it's going to be 2 years at $100 on Patreon. That's nuts. Supportive, Tony from Revere, everybody else who signed up, thank you so much. And back to Jake's news breakdown.
Yeah, Negan, let me know the best way to get a hold of you. I don't know if it's on Twitter or some other way.
Sexually.
I know he wanted me to a while ago, and I wasn't sure what the best way to reach out to him was. But yeah, besides that, I mean, it's worrisome because we already saw Damian Priest debut, but nothing with Rhea yet. And we saw Raw and SmackDown, no Rhea Ripley. Apparently they have nothing planned for her. Surprise. So why take her out of NXT and debut her in the Rumble?
She was a red herring or whatever?
I don't know, but they didn't want to pass the Rumble and not use her in that because they felt like the story told itself. We already saw Charlotte, Bianca, and Rhea, face off previously. So the final three being that was kind of like a big moment. I get what they were going for, but you have nothing for Rhea. You don't even know which brand they specifically want her on at this point. That's bad. Bad Bunny making a ton of money with WWE. He is a hot seller. I mean,
what?
Apparently the WWE dropped Royal Rumble merchandise for Bad Bunny, and he's one of the top sellers at the WWE shop right now. They have a poster, a T-shirt, a women's shirt, a unisex shirt, and a zip-up hoodie, which are all selling like hotcakes.
Oh, my God, dude. Imagine if they made him bleed every week and they put a shirt on with him like GTA killed.
So that's what we said, kick the shit out of him and make it worthwhile. But instead, they're obviously letting Bad Bunny build up to WrestleMania. He's going to have a match, Miz and Morrison. He'll team with Damian Priest. That's what we heard. Seems like that makes sense. But it does nothing for me. I'm not a Bad Bunny fan. I know he is beloved by millions. He's very popular, and that's great. But I don't know if this is the right person to get. I don't know if he's going to be the one that transcends wrestling from the hip-hop culture into the wrestling world. I don't know if he's going to bring those people and bridge that gap. He's not the Mike Tyson.
The ratings haven't shown it yet.
Yeah. Conor McGregor, a few years ago when he was at his real top peak, especially when he had the two belts, if he came into to WWE at that point, he would have been a real generator of ratings. Khabib probably could have as well when he, before he retired on his way out, 29 wins with the title before, he still didn't relinquish it, but still, people like that, if we get top tier talent. Even Tyson Fury wasn't so much of a ratings draw. He did a lot for the Saudi deal, but he wasn't someone that really generated a lot of buzz. And he's a huge boxing legend. So there's not that many stars nowadays. It's just indicative of culture nowadays. I feel like celebrities are too attainable, too reachable. And that's what ruined a lot of people's star power. Growing up, we couldn't message Hulk Hogan or Stone Cold. We couldn't, even if they don't look at my tweet, there's still a chance that The Rock can see my tweet. Is he going to reply to me? No, but there's a 1 in a million shot, whatever it is, his millions of followers, that he might see my tweet. We didn't have access to that. You couldn't get everybody to have a groundswell and share their opinion all at once. So people had to react in real time. That's why a lot of the wrestling angles got to play out. And even if they were bad, you didn't hear about it till after the fact, because that was their idea. There wasn't this instant feedback. But I feel like celebrities are just too attainable, too close. They're too accessible. And they don't have that allure that they used to, that level of secrecy and star power, essentially. The magic isn't there.
Oh my God!
They still have glitz and glamour, and they live the high life, but it's not as special seeming as it once was. There's more ways into being a star, and
Jake,
can't argue with that. Look at that!
My God, special seeming. My Boston girl.
Yeah,
can you believe I was at wrestling school with this woman? It's unbelievable.
I know you were talking about licking the sweat, and
no. Wait a minute! Don't confuse me with what's his Mr. Rapey over there?
The Inner Circle.
The Inner Circle guy, Mr. Esse Vato. You know,
Spanish God here.
I'm convinced that, you know, I found Leah because I was like, man, Sasha, that girl Mercedes.
You were infatuated in a way with her look.
I was like, let me get the white version of Sasha. And at the time, Leah really looked like her. I remember I thought that. So maybe, you know, Mercedes is the reason I'm with Leah. And she thinks I'm Eminem. She wants to be with Eminem.
That's a great point. Fame is not infamy.
No.
That's a great point. But you might be right. That's why you found Leah.
And she found me because she wanted Eminem. So look at this.
It was tit for tat. She had her own celebrity crush.
Yes, she thought I was Eminem, and I thought she was Mercedes.
Exactly. So
I was like, yo.
In heaven to begin with. You both got the role play.
I mean, this is really kind of like groundbreaking stuff in a relationship, you know,
What I heard for Bad Bunny, the reason why they put Priest with him is they have high hopes for Priest, and they feel like putting him against the Miz and Morrison is like a ready-made feud. It makes him a star because they look at Miz as heavily established, also having the Money in the Bank, but he's a former champion, WrestleMania headliner. You know, they look at Miz internally as a very big deal. So having a match with him at Mania is supposedly like a high-stakes thing for Damian Priest to go through, endure, whatever the hell you want to call it.
For him to be there at all at Mania is a big deal. For him to have any
so for Damian Priest just to be included in this, and then being tied to Bad Bunny is supposed to elevate Damian Priest because he'll be the one giving like tutelage to Bad Bunny. So he'll look like a pro, but he's also the new guy. So it elevates him at the same time. And he's tied with Bad Bunny. So the youth get to recognize Damian Priest. Hopefully that gives him a bit of a coolness to his edge, or at least connects him to the youth. That's kind of what they're going. And they have the Spanish, you know, connection as well. So
because he's, look at Rhea Ripley. Oh yeah, there's my Sasha right there. Look at, there she is. There's my Sasha, my white Sasha. But yeah, no, Rhea Ripley, look at what happened to her. So Damian Priest coming in, getting anything. I mean, Rhea got that match with Charlotte last year. Why isn't Rhea involved in something? You know, I don't understand.
We couldn't figure it out. They didn't use her for so long. Then they messed with her, and they really, you know, crushed her foundation and shook her to her core by making her lose so many times.
They shook her like a baby.
That's my worry about when people go to the main roster, and that's why some of the NXT talent have discussed actually needing like therapy and whatnot. And it sounds so convoluted and silly at the same time. Like, oh, poor baby, you're sad. You're making millions of dollars, but you're upset because you're losing. But think about it. Look at Nakamura. He was beloved by millions. He was the man in New Japan.
Nakamura.
He was it. King of Strong Style. I mean, look at he was revered and beloved by everybody, even when he was a heel. Like, he was great. He came out to you know, such an ovation. You look at everything he accomplished, and then the Wrestle Kingdom matches, comes to NXT, so white hot over. Crowd loves him, singing his theme song like no tomorrow. He has this great opener with Sami Zayn that was amazing. One of my favorite NXT matches of all time, actually, like top favorite. And then slowly but surely he goes to the main roster, and they just continually ruin him. And imagine that for years you've been it. You're the shit. You're on top of the world. Like, sure, maybe you've lost a few matches, but you've always been in a high profile scenario. And then you finally make it to WWE. You go through Triple H's NXT. Everything's amazing. And then you get to Vince, and he's the gatekeeper that shuts you down.
Right.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know mentally how you handle that. That's a rough go of it.
And Vince has done this, man. He's
many people, you know, we already talked about Lars exiting the company, and we were shocked it didn't happen sooner. I guess they really, you know, he was very thankful to Vince for being so civil and kind to him, and they really went above and beyond, they said. But he was no showing of, you know, house shows and events and tapings, and just not able to eat anymore. He was so anxiety ridden. So good for him to get out of there. Like, as much as we busted on him and all that, I don't want to see him.
No, wait, I never busted on Vince. I never busted on him. You might have busted on Vince, but yeah, look at Sasha, man. There she is. Mercedes time. You might have busted on Vince. I didn't bust on Vince. This is you're
but
fucking
right there,
sick.
That's got a Leah look to it. That Sasha photo.
That's right. I couldn't get Mercedes, so I went after the Irish version of her. Somebody brought this up in the chat.
The main
now.
roster, Joe. Karrion Kross obviously teased the feud that we were talking about earlier. The way I watched it out of order, I thought it actually happened after NXT, but it was right before the main event. I was corrected. And they had a really intense stare down. So Kross and Edge are there. And it gives you that anything can happen feel to it. And even though he's not champion, well, the reason why they did this was to set up things for the future. Karrion Kross, he's on the fast track for the main roster. That's right. He's being groomed for the main roster. So obviously there's people who can work. This is Dave Meltzer saying this, but other people have agreed as well. Roderick Strong can work, the rings around Karrion Kross, but he might never make it to the main roster. But they can't wait to get Karrion Kross. He has that look. This is me saying this. He has that look that Vince loves. That's why Lars stuck around for so long, because Lars had that look that Vince wets himself over. That's his dream. That 6'3" monster, kind of. That's what Vince is all about.
Wets himself over.
He does. You see it in his eyes. He goes nuts. So I agree with Meltzer here. We know that Karrion Kross's separated shoulder kind of screwed him for a little bit, but had that not happened, he might have been up by Mania. But soon enough, they're calling him up to the main roster, so they're starting to set seeds of feuds he'll have when he gets up there, and one of which they want him facing Edge. Ooh. And I think that would be great, because Edge may be the champion past WrestleMania. They haven't decided yet, but we can see it going either way, where Edge doesn't lose, but it's kind of I wouldn't want to see a DQ finish at Mania to keep a feud going.
Yeah.
Certainly not. I'd want to see, somebody win clean, hopefully, but it's a rough pick to see who wins, Edge or Roman when it comes to it. That's a lot of it's a lot to consider.
Man, Edge
or
one that's
thing here.
That is going to be a tough pick.
Yeah, that's going to be
I don't know tough. Either. Oh, yeah, here's look at this. Now we're comparing them at the same age. Yeah, you put glasses on Leah, and I got myself Mercedes. You're right, Jeff. You are right in the chat, and thanks for bringing up this fact. Yeah, you're right, Leah. I am obsessed with Sasha Banks.
The cum goggles, and we're good to go.
Yeah, we give Leah the goggles, and they both got a long torso at this same age here. The lips,
similar builds too.
Very similar builds. Yeah, there's something going on here. There's something up. Oh, this is very astute of you. We've brought this up before.
So. He's got it.
Yeah,
you've mentioned this before though, but
I've mentioned this before, so you didn't discover this.
Made a great statement here. It's a little long, but I basically the gist of it. He said that the Undertaker, when he had the recent interview with Stone Cold on the podcast again, and they went ahead and people were upset about that. First, it's like, all right, we heard a little edge and griff with that, and then. All right, forget it. The Undertaker goes ahead and goes on Joe Rogan, ignites the world. He sets everybody off by making some comments. So it really went off. And from there, people have been saying that, he's too harsh on modern day wrestlers, but Edge kind of cleared things up. I think it makes sense. He says, I think any comment can be taken out of context. During a 3-hour interview, they took the most salacious 20-second clip. I think anybody, whoever steps foot into the wrestling ring, no matter what era, whether it be the 40s or the 2020s, are all tough. There's different changes, the challenges that come with every era, with every decade, with every incarnation of what this business becomes. We didn't have the challenge of social media. Now it's a great outlet in order to get your product out there. But there's also a whole lot of hiccups and possible bumps on the road that come along with that.
They're not pussies. Right. They're just missing the grit. They're missing the grit that the old people had, and it really makes a difference. And we can.
But Edge is right, because social media put all these people under a microscope.
That's true, and
we're able to scrutinize them more because we see so much more of their lives, their everyday aspects, and we get to peel back the curtain. We see them, no makeup, sitting at home in sweatpants, watching Netflix, and that kind of stuff. So
they're in a feud, and then the next minute, in front of their 1 million followers, they go, "Hey, I just made some cake."
Exactly. So they gain that relatability as a person. So you're like, oh, they're really cool. I like them. But they lose that star value because they become more like you and less, I don't want to say superior. That's not the right word, but I think you get what I'm going for.
And some of them realize this, that they become humanized in a way.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. They don't feel special any longer.
Exactly. It even happens in movies when you see like Captain America tweet out, like, hey, I'm with my dogs. But it's different.
Here's a question for you right now. Does The Undertaker feel the same to you?
Yeah, because honestly, the Undertaker's mystique changed for me the minute he went into old school guy or big evil biker guy. So it doesn't matter as much to me for the Undertaker.
For me, I felt like that was such a contrast with the change of character with him. Like, all right, this is a different enough change from the Evil Dead Man that the Big Eagle wasn't my favorite, but I did like the American Badass.
Yeah, I like the American Badass. Undertaker doesn't bother me as much because he does less of it. The people that bother me are like every day I go and I see Alexa Bliss posting like
no. What I was saying is that for me, I even going back like watching older matches of the Undertaker, I don't see him how I saw him pre him doing all these interviews and stuff. It did take away some of the mystique. I view him now more as Mark than I do the Undertaker, if that makes sense at all. I try and shut my brain off from it, but I can't help but feel more personally connected to him, and I never had that for all these 30 years. Now hearing all these great tales and road stories and backstories, I want to know more about the man than the wrestler, but that also makes it a little less, I don't want to say interesting, but it doesn't have the same power as it once did. Another person that you think about who has barely ever done interviews, really, Randy Orton. He made a bit of a stink the other day, kind of joking around.
And when he does, he's a dickhead, and it like so that kind of works.
Yeah, and he's another one. But think about how well it's kind of kept up his character because he hasn't had to break much kayfabe. He does do like snarky Mark jokes on Twitter or Instagram, but it's not that heavily. Like he pretty much stays to himself. So he's handled things quite well, I feel like.
Yeah, Randy's usually pretty good.
Got into all the media calls and conferences and then started to be a hypocrite and talk himself in the holes and embarrassed himself at times. And then the fans backlashed against him. And then it turned into this whole big issue and they had to turn him heel to save him.
Yeah, so. Randy's weird because he won't go out of his way to be like, oh my God, like I'm, gotta pretend that whatever. But at the same time, if you start to fuck around with kayfabe, he'll literally like be like, yo, fuck you. Like, and he'll go.
Yeah, he will tear you down a peg.
And I liked, he's got that, he does have a little bit of that. He never took it the most serious, but he does have that old school mentality still that like, I'm going to protect this a little bit. You're not going to fuck with me. Like,
yeah,
that it's fake and whatever else. I'll fucking, we'll have a beef if you do that. And I like that about Randy Orton. So, no doubt about it, man.
Yeah, and as I said before, we didn't have an exact date, but according to Wrestling Observer, not counting WrestleMania, of course, the earliest we'll see ticket sales is the second half of 2021. So they're thinking by June is when we'll start seeing shows with fans.
When did Vince say? I thought he said like 6 weeks or something like that. Wasn't it close by?
Yeah, but they asked the question, and Christina Salen. She said the WWE expects to do ticketed events in the second half of 2021, but that's at the earliest. So that's from the media call today.
Yeah, I missed that part. So,
yeah. Vince at one point said that he wanted to go at least 6 to 8 weeks past Mania to start doing tickets, but that almost lines up. You figure Mania is April, mid-April, so then you're like mid-May, mid-June. So that's right, actually. That works.
Okay.
That actually lines up, so that does make sense. 8 weeks past Mania would be the middle of June. So you're right. Look at that.
Let me drop these donos real quick.
Said she wants to face Sasha. I'm all for that. I'd rather see her go against Sasha as a face-and-face match than go against Asuka, personally.
Yeah.
I think that's the best bet for all of that. But that is all the news I have at this current time. We were in a bit longer than we usually do, but those are my highlights. I don't know if you have anything more, but
no, I was just gonna play some donos, I guess. See what people are saying.
Catch up with everybody's chiming in.
Here we go. Oh, there we go. Zentor, No Elite. Thank you very much for following.
Elite.
Zentorno Elite. Thank you, man.
What it is
with the sub. Shit bum. Botch Club.
You become a shit bum.
Botch Club.
Yo, play my latest post and play my Kenta botch from last night. Hell yeah.
Yeah, baby. Botch Club, thank you for the $4.99. Guys, go to Botch Club's Instagram. He's a big supporter.
Unfortunately, we can't play the AEW clips because they are taking people down left and right. I saw it happen already twice today.
Plus, I was striked by WWE.
I was on a video before. So
yeah, you can't do it.
I was trying to capture a clip on my phone. I was on a video on YouTube, and then I went back to it, and it was already taken down. So
Yeah.
But then they put up their official, granted, but still,
Yeah, sadly I can't.
Just reacting.
Yeah, we just can't do it. I've been every clip I play from Botch Club, I've been hit with tons of copyright things every time I play one of your videos. That's one of the big reasons I changed up some of the donos, because some of those were actually getting hit. And I spoke with I actually got some approved that I can use and some that I can't use when I spoke to the lawyers. So everything's all set, but I just had to change some things, and so I can't even play the Instagram clips unless I want to risk, having them come down. So I can't do it. But we
try though, but we share the links definitely, and everybody go check out Botch Club and the Wrestle Daily on Instagram and TikTok. Their TikTok's taken off as well. Oh, speaking of trending, WWE claims that show they had in India, the one they had on Republic Day in India, was watched by 20 million fans.
Wait, out there, or
they didn't specify. They said 20 million viewers.
I mean, I'd believe it in India if they had a good,
that's a huge market.
I believe it.
So no wonder why they're trying. That's 5 times what they get for Raw and SmackDown.
There's 8 billion people in India, right?
I think there's 70 worldwide, right?
Oh, there's 8 billion people on the planet. You're right. So there's like 1 billion in India, or like 700 million.
India has a huge population.
Is it 700 million? Someone fucking Alexa, how many people live in India? It might be 700 million or a billion.
1.36 billion.
Billion. Okay, thought so. Okay, so but yeah, not 8 or 7, but yeah, 1 point something billion. Which in America, there's 375 million Americans. There's 1 point something
billion. So that's a huge contrast. And think about how much smaller India is compared to the United States.
Right. I mean, dude,
how densely populated and packed they are in there. But they said 20 million viewers in India is over 5 times what they get here, and it aired at 8 o'clock local time for them. It also featured matches where the people of India were represented in every match, so they were all booked to look good. That's why they were really, sucking up to India, obviously, because that was their intent.
Yeah, and that's wrestling. Play to the hometown crowd,
But there's nothing to back this up. This was just named during their financial call. They kind of touted, but it seems ridiculously large. Even under the circumstance of them,
I can tell you why. I'll tell you why it's not large.
India thing.
I'll tell you why it's not. Go look up the India TV ratings. Go bring up the TV ratings of India, and look up any other shows on those channels that they provided, and I bet you we can find the numbers right then and there. Because if you find out that most shows airing at that time in India draw 50 million, 60 million, 20 million, 10 million people watching.
The only thing I have recently is WrestleMania 33, and that had.
Don't bring up wrestling. Bring up something different. Bring up a fucking regular program.
I'm trying to. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, because
Indian WWE TV ratings are not directly reported because of the way they go from para-analytics and in demand on India.
So take WWE's ratings in America. Take WWE's American ratings.
Here's I have one number to go by. Their primetime repeat across all channels for WrestleMania 33 when they replayed it was 67.3 million unique viewers.
Right.
And that was when wrestling was booming and it's still, I want to say booming, but they were doing better at WrestleMania 33 compared to now. So I guess I can see that.
You have to understand this.
Such a pro-India thing, I guess.
You have to understand this, though. In America, if you do that, you air Raw and SmackDown, whatever, you get 3 million people in America, 2 million, 3 million, whatever. Probably 2. Say you get 2 million in America. There's 370 million potential customers. So times that by 5, because that's the India number. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 10 million. So that means that you are drawing more interest in India for whatever reason, because of people that just have no other choice. They watch that channel no matter what's on it, things like that. So the American number is 2 million. So the India number should be 10 million, but they did 20 million. So it's actually a little impressive that they did 20 million. However, the advertising in India, that's on par with normal shows in India. So it's not like they're making like tons more money in India, because the advertising prices are set to that average amount anyway. Most shows get 15, 20, and 30 million views, so that's not that unnormal for them. In America, it seems like, oh my God, they must have killed it. But in India, it's not that much different because there's 1.3 billion people watching. So their numbers are always around a lot larger. So I'm sure they did okay, but it's not like the advertising is that much different because it's still standard numbers. If they had done 100 million, maybe their advertising numbers would be up in India.
The only other numbers I see right now, unless anybody else found anything, is that it says WWE Monday Night Raw's travelability to India in the last 30 days is 46%. So what that means is that the audience demand for Raw is 46% of the demand it is from the United States. So basically, they have 46% of the viewership the United States does.
What? Oh, oh, yeah. Oh, no, because
Canada has 37%, Australia has 35%, and it just keeps going on from there. Italy's 24%, and so on and so forth. So India is one of the higher ones, but Great Britain is the highest with 76%, of course. But India has 46%. So if WWE is doing 2 million viewers, 46%, it's almost 50%. So they're doing 1 million viewers in India for their TV rating.
Oh, that's it. So they're not doing 20
it's
million.
46% the numbers of.
I finally found you out of shape piece of shit. I'm laying out the law here.
I'm gonna come
Joe
get you.
Cronin, for all the defamation you said about me, I challenge you to an explosive barbed wire massacre match.
Oh my God, you got it, Vic Joseph. Where are we gonna hold it? In your hometown of cocksucker? Is that where we're gonna hold it, Vic Joseph? We're gonna hold the match in your hometown of cocksucking butt pumper? Is that where we're gonna have it, Vic Joseph? You fucking vampire! Bring it on, you tall idiot looking. Fucking tall as Howard Stern, ugly as fucking Howard Finkel motherfucker. Bring it on, Vic Joseph. You son of a bitch. I'll channel Larry Funk and I'll have him come down and fuck you in the face. You greedy cock goblin motherfucker. Fucking Vic Joseph. Eat shit, Vic Joseph. Shit bomb. Randy Viper.
You become a shit bomb.
Yes.
Edge shouldn't beat Roman, period. Where Bullfrog at?
Randy Viper, I agree. I really think, shout out to New Zealand, man, sweet as. I really do think that this is WrestleMania 22. Triple H versus John Cena. Roman Reigns is the John Cena. Edge is the Triple H.
Yeah.
Edge will lose in the end.
Have Drew McIntyre face John Cena still, too. I wish they could do it. God damn it.
Yeah, man. They
pissing me off.
Man,
I really want to see that.
He could really use that.
Joe Morley Sasha comparison.
Comparison? Oh, Big Joe. What up, Big Jojo? Hey, Big Joe, thanks for becoming a $5 shit bum. More Leah and Sasha comparisons. Okay. I guess I could say that I could compare Leah because Leah has, like, Sasha has the glasses, right? Like, Sasha Banks has the dorky glasses, and Leah pulls off the dorky look, too. I guess I could pull a Sasha Banks dorky glasses picture. Let me try to find a modern one of Sasha, though, because that old one isn't fair if I show a new Leah and an old Sasha. Or, you know what I mean. Botch Club on Instagram, go check them out. Let me see. Sasha Banks glasses. I don't know. This is weird that we're comparing my wife. Oh, here we go. Okay, so, yeah, let me try to find a fair one, that, I don't know.
And like I said the other day, Triple H now invites the Colts linebacker, Darius Leonard. Now he invited him to NXT because Darius called out Triple H.
Oh, really?
So now I think this might lead up to something to do. I think that's what it'll come down to for, like, their Mania thing.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people think, and Corey Graves agrees, that John Cena is swerving fans about WrestleMania. And I would tend to agree until I read more details about Canada's, like, COVID restrictions. And it really lines up with what they're saying.
Right.
And he wouldn't be able to leave multiple times and come back. He'd have to leave, stay, come back, stay. And he wouldn't be able to have enough time to he would miss too much filming. He can't go there and back and there and back, basically.
Really?
So it seems legit. It really does seem like he's not going to make it to Mania. I hope it's a swerve and John can make it because Cena, like you just said, he's needed. But I think it'd be a great addition. He would add that star power that's desperately missing.
Yeah, he would definitely help it. Of course,
he was a huge addition to last year. I know that's so divisive for the Fiends match, the Funhouse match, but
okay. I guess here's a picture of Sasha. I got to find a better Sasha one. This ain't the best Sasha.
And yes, we talked quite a deal about AEW. We just started the show with AEW.
Yeah, so. we literally started. Yeah. we also just talked about a lot about it last night. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim Ross goes on to say in his latest podcast, it's a good listen, but he's talking about WrestleMania 14 and how far they went to keep, Mike Tyson happy. And there's some funny stories in there. He also says how, Tyson was offered $3.5 million for that one gig. Think about how much money that was for Vince to put up at that point in time.
Right.
I mean, just a few years before, as you always say, they were coming for the water coolers. They were screwed. And, this saved them. So.
You got to play my brother Junebug's sex line call as Luis Alejandro on Monetize This tomorrow. It was fucking funny, bro.
I don't remember that. February Bug. What's up, February Bug? I don't remember where that is. Send me a link to that. I will play it on Monetize This tomorrow. Sure. Absolutely. Love Junebug. And he's funny. And by the way, Junebug is back on the Patreon at the $30 spot. So, Junebug, thank you.
I love you, Junebug. Fuck me.
Thank you.
Aiden English is also doing some media, and he's on some YouTube channels talking over some stuff, and he's been telling some quite funny stories. Actually, it's been pretty entertaining. Some of the clips I saw, he actually tore his pec muscle here years ago.
You say
WWE
pecker?
never sent him for an MRI, so he never got it fixed. And
pecker muscle.
For the muscle, he tore it off. So
you said pecker muscle. Come on, you said pecker. We're trying to compare my wife to Sasha. Can we keep comparing my wife to Sasha? Shut up, Jake. No, I'm just kidding. No, seriously.
This wrestling related.
What else you got?
That's pretty much it. That is my last of it. Carlito, like I said, he's on a 3-week evaluation period, but it's just a formality. And he wants to bring back Chris Masters. He said that that he wants to see him return. So he's trying to push for Chris Masters to make a return.
Why?
I don't know.
The Masterpiece.
They don't need more legends, but I guess they could have another battle of the Master Lock between him and Lashley. I don't know.
Oh.
So disappointing.
I mean...
Not that I didn't like Chris Masters either, because,
Yeah, he was all right, but...
He was fun then. I liked his gimmick with the Master Lock and all that stuff, but... I just wouldn't want to see him now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
not even crazy about seeing Carlito. I like Carlito. It was cool to see him in the Rumble, but I wasn't stoked about him really coming back. He looks great, so we'll see what he does. Hopefully they do something good with him, but MVP was the exception so far. Pretty much everybody else they brought back, kind of a sloppy, wet fart.
Yeah, he'd just be another mid-card muscle guy that doesn't... we need some people that can step out, man, and be this character, be this big... We need to find the next big thing. We don't have that.
Yeah, exactly. And we need to start really, a Karrion Kross, if they want to fast track him to the main roster, he could be a top guy. He could be that Undertaker Kane kind of, evil heel that also doesn't have to rely on this hokiness either because he's so strong.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't go with all the silly hocus pocus stuff they've done with him with the fireball with Keith Lee. That was okay. You could explain that. Obviously it's a set trap that they set for him. They don't have to say it was magic, and they haven't, thankfully.
Right.
But with the Alexa Bliss stuff, that's getting a bit too fantastical even for me. And I like the Firefly, Funhouse series and Bray's stuff. It's just it's going too far.
Yeah,
it's not getting proper payoffs. It's not going anywhere. It's just continually going. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I give them credit for trying to, stretch out something with the Firefly thing, but they keep... I don't know, man. I just feel like they keep stretching it out too much every time. They still don't understand that shorter stories are in right now with the crowd, and we're connecting with shorter, quicker, payoff stories. The long stuff.
Yeah, because you need the fans there for that long burn, and it wouldn't be bad if they had compelling stories to tell. But so far, most of what they've done with the Alexa stuff has been pretty silly. It started off good. She joined the Fiend. She has this devilish evil side to her now. Then they start turning her into this little girl side, and that's weird. And now she's altering between her old Alexa Bliss self, then this Alexa, and then the Firefly evil twisted Alexa. And she doesn't want the title, so she gave up after that. She was fine just beating up Asuka. She beats up Nikki Cross. She's changing a bunch of times throughout the matches. Her messing with Orton makes sense, but everything else they've done just really has fallen flat. So
right. We're doing more. People, this guy is demanding comparisons of me and my wife. inside.
I missed that one too. Do not date, masturbate.
Oh man, it's too funny, man. Oh, we're
see
weird.
The purple in her hair, for Leah there, so it's got a good side by side.
You put, I don't know, man. It's not really. She's a little bit like her. It's just funny. It's funny to say.
Oh, I know. I'm
funny
just
to
playing
say.
it up, but yeah, Matt's right. We don't even know how a live crowd is going to react to this stuff. We don't know how a live crowd is going to react to anything, and that's why they're dangerously spoiled with the Thunderdome. When they do get fans back, that's why they're also pushing, not to rush back to fans. They like the Thunderdome because they can pick what gets cheered, what gets booed. They don't have AEW chants or this is boring or this is bullshit or awful or any of those negative things, because they decide what gets played, what button gets pushed.
Uh-huh.
That's all there is to it. They're thankful for that. That's why they didn't want the Rumble to have fans. That was a part of it, because they're afraid if they do something, they don't want a backlash. They're comfortable where they are right now, and you can't tell me they're not.
Yeah, I think they're happy.
They're so comfortable. They're very complacent. So,
I think that's about it, man. I think we got to wrap up. It's pretty goddamn late.
That's it, baby.
Pretty damn late. We rolled for a while here. I want to thank everybody who signed back up on the Patreon, guys. If you haven't, there's so much stuff. I put up Morning Madness this morning, too, if you didn't hear that. The first time I got drunk at work, I talked about that and some other things. The Rose Gaming, man, 13 months in a row on Twitch. Said
hell yeah, Rose Gaming. He's another one.
Said 6 years in the JCS community. Wow. Thank you, Rose Gaming. Call up more often, baby.
I'm coming for you.
Oh, yeah, Leah?
I'm coming for you.
We already have our number one fan on hold.
I'm coming for you.
Fuck Karen, suck my dick. Fuck cancel culture shit. Fuck Karen, you dumb bitch.
It's time to play with your grundle.
Colonel Santos tipped $3. Both Leah Cronin and Sasha Banks are hot AF.
Ooh.
I whipped out my Buto and stroked out to the boss Sasha Banks, imagining my Buto sliding in and out of her pookie, dead A and PWET. I
Oh
come
my
so
God.
hard it went into my mouth. But Joe, I will set you up with Filipina.
Yes, bring that on, man. Let's see if we can have that. I'll have to talk to my wife about that, but I think...
Said you up with some Filipino women.
My wife might let me do it.
Feisty.
If she lets me do it, I'm game. So thank you, sir. February Bug, thank you. Get me that stuff for Monetize this tomorrow night on Corrupted Nation over on the other channel, guys.
Did I send you that photo? I thought I did on Facebook. Maybe I didn't.
What photo?
Andy and I were driving yesterday, and we saw a license plate, and it was a...
yeah.
Yeah, and it said, "Okay, Karen."
Yeah. That was funny.
I was like, you got to be... But someone actually changed it to "Okay, Karen." So, whatever. Hey, if it makes you happy.
That's a pretty funny license plate. Imagine getting yelled at by like a Karen.
Pulled over.
Well, that Karen yelled at their neighbor the other day, and they got taken out. So don't
Oh my
be
God,
careful.
that was like you said, it was horrific to watch because I didn't. At first, it was a news site that actually posted the video,
Yeah,
so I thought it was, not gonna. And I don't mind seeing stuff like that. It's just
I don't
the fact
like
of
it.
hearing them yell out, like that's the harder part. It's not actually watching the violence; it's the audio. I think is worse.
Yeah.
Hearing him cry for them to call 911 and seeing his wife, I believe it was, getting shot. That's awful.
He kind of bitched out on his wife. He should have
He ran because the guy was running at him, and I would have jumped on top of her so she wouldn't have gotten shot.
Well, no,
possibly,
I would.
or
What he
tried.
should have done was, I mean, listen, it's hard to
charge him. I know.
I just
in the
can't
moment,
believe that
but-
they looked at a guy with a gun and they were like, "Oh, whatever," and then he sort of fired and missed, or he fired and hit him. Sometimes you get hit with a bullet, you don't feel it really right away. You don't even know, and then you're like, "Oh," and then the guys panic. But like it was like, I would have just. I mean, you got to go into the mode almost of like, I'm gonna tackle him. Even I'm already shot. You might as well try to stop him quickly, and then tell your wife, like, get the fuck out of here, go inside, get inside. Instead he retreated and left his wife in the street with the guy. It was like, oh my God, you left your wife in the street with the guy. It was terrible, dude. It was so horrific that again, I didn't believe.
Yeah, I
it
know.
was real.
She's there in the street, and he walks over and he shoots her again. Looks like in the head, but she's still moving after that, which is just even worse. It's
Oh
like,
my
ugh.
God, dude, it was awful.
And she might have survived. I'm like, oh, she might still survive this, and then not knowing all the details, and then the guy walks back over, and I'm like, oh no,
Dude, he comes back with an AR-15. Like, he goes back into his house, comes back out with an AR-15 and finishes them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I was like, they might survive. Maybe. Oh no, he's coming back. Like, there's no.
And then he didn't. It looked like some younger people came out to help them, and then all of a sudden he came back and they ran away, which the good thing they did, because
good thing he didn't shoot them as well.
Yeah, thank God he didn't shoot those people. I mean, I know he had a big feud with these people. Apparently, they fucked with each other, but it's hard to believe. Dude, the comments were crazy. Some people were like, "Well, that's what you get."
That are crazy like that, where it's come down to, like, you know, you see them in fist fights and shit, and it's not. I could see the tension building between neighbors. I've seen it before.
Yeah, but don't shoot your neighbors. Like, what the hell? Like, I mean, that.
I don't agree with the shooting, no doubt, but I'm saying I can see it getting that bad.
Yeah.
When I forget which 9th or 10th grade, I went to my buddy Justin's house. He was my best friend growing up, and he lives right over here. I called his name was Jay Guapo, and my Puerto Rican best friend. And we went ahead and I get to his house. As soon as I go ahead and I get to his freaking house, I shouldn't have gone over that day. He's in like tears out front. I'm like, what the hell is going on? He points, and his neighbor was in the process of literally killing his neighbor with a hammer.
What?
It was a whole big, they had a whole big fight, and Justin witnessed the entire thing. I only caught the aftermath, but
oh my God,
his family was calling 911 like as I got there and walked in. Like, it was a nightmare, but big thing. Yeah, he killed her, and it was a disaster. But Justin watched the whole thing.
Dude, I'm not. Well, in real life, I don't know what I'd probably
lose it.
I don't do well with. I don't normally ever watch murder in real stuff. Like, I never usually watch. Because it, like, I can't believe, like, I can't deal with it. I just can't do it. I've seen
a few people die. I mean, I watched that young kid die when I was younger. He got hit by a car and his head blew open. That was traumatizing for a long time.
Yeah, I can't deal with it. I can't. If someone sends me.
I was young then too, and I remember he got hit and he like turned white instantly, the way you could just tell, like, dead on impact kind of thing, and you can still see it, but he came up, and when he went down, his head split open.
Oh God,
like, just awful.
Hey, Jay,
that one, and then I watched my grandmother die. I had them stop working on her, and then I saved my father's life when he was dead in the living room. That was one, and I've seen a couple people die in the hospital too. Stays in the hospital, but that's about it. So. Enough death.
Yeah, I've seen people die, like regular die. I think it's different. Like, I can.
What's regular die?
Like, somebody who's like sick, and then passes away. Like, I've seen that, and that's like sad, but whatever. But to see somebody like ended by somebody else is way more horrific to me. Like,
absolutely, it's
that's
awful.
Weird. Like, I can't deal with that. But yeah, I don't know, man. This guy's nuts. I mean, the guy lived by himself, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, and to have all that footage too. I mean, and then he takes his own life, so you never really feel like you get that.
Don't watch that, people. Listen, if you want us, if you're like interested, go watch it. I tweeted it, but I watched it already by accident, so I said, well, fuck it. I saw it now. I mean, whatever. But it's just like, you can't even believe it's a real video. If I hadn't seen the news story days before, I wouldn't have pieced together like, oh my God, this is really that fucking video. What the hell?
Gorilla Strong says, moving on. Yeah, last words, all that stuff. Like I said, that the audio messed me up more than anything.
Yeah, it was terrible. But yeah, what a way to end the show. I mean,
hey,
triple murder. Like, what the fuck? Hey, triple murder on the snow day.
Hey, that's right. But we're still alive. That's the silver lining. Everybody's staying sexy.
We're still
staying
here.
Healthy. And Monetize This is tomorrow night, so we got a party. Everybody's got to be in a good mood.
We hope Monica is okay. She's dealing with COVID. Her and James have COVID, so
yeah. Hopefully they feel better soon. That's awful.
Please, Monica, she's on all kinds of pills. I want to see them titties on Monetize This soon.
It's a good thing you remember that, 'cause I wanted to message her earlier and tell her to feel better, and I forgot. So
this is Cronin dressed up as Himmelgod right here. Me dressed up as Himmelgod. Hope you like it. We are out of here, everybody. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye. Kisses. Please check out my Patreon.
It's what this once proud and profitable company sorely needs. What was once a captivating, trend-setting program has now deteriorated into a cliched, let's be honest, boring snooze fest that is in dire need of a knight in shining armor. Television ratings downward spiral. Pay-per-view buy rates plummeting. Mainstream acceptance non-existent. And reactions of the live crowds complete and utter silence. You're silent because you're embarrassed to be here. Honestly, I'm embarrassed for you. And the reason why you're embarrassed is because of the steady stream of uninteresting, untalented, mediocre sports entertainers who you're forced to cheer for and care for. No wonder you're not cheering. You can care less about every single idiot in that dressing room.
Now, here's Joe Cronin. Joe Cronin.
Hey guys, it's me, Joe Cronin. I think you should sub to my Patreon, or I'm gonna expose X-Pac for sucking my cock behind the scenes at a wrestling event. That's right, if you don't become a patron of mine, I'm gonna leak out the fact that me and X-Pac had a sexual encounter at a wrestling event, and he wore a condom hat while he did it. And then the road dog Jesse James on Twitter would comment about our sexual advance when he said, "Is this where I say where and you say down here?" And a crotch chop. If not, you missed an opportunity. Yes, Brian James, road dog, thank you. I love you all in the chat. My privates are wet. My privates are long, and my privates are ready to go. And I am, without a doubt, the most hardcore parkour ever seen in this community. Watch this, for instance. Amazing parkour skills here. Oh. I can still parkour like nobody else. Look at the transition in between the swing set. Oh, but pole out of nowhere. Who put that pole there? There's never usually a pole there. Whoever constructed this playground is a cunt. Quite frankly, I know what I'm doing. Good night, folks.